Welcome into another Tuesday night evening blend. Whatever you have in your hand, Matthew, that I can't see, this trumps every single bit of it right here in my hands as I struggle to hold up 25 pounds.
Of unopened product that you
Yay!
haven't been able to play with yet.
Man, I haven't. And if you guys listen to me, you'll notice I'm a bit under the weather. I wish I was over the weather. But yes, it arrived. It arrived on Saturday. And I have yet to feel good enough to open it up. And I feel like such a chump. Isn't that the Nookie by Limp Bizkit? Like a chump. Hey, like a chump. Hey, that's what I feel like. I feel like a chump for not opening it up. Can't wait, can't wait, can't wait, can't
It's gonna be
wait. But
awesome.
what did you hold up in your tiny little hands?
I had a couple things. I just had a little
Everybody
footloose
cut
here.
loose. Yes, cut
Yeah,
loose, foot loose, kick off your Sunday shoes.
and
Let's go full screen.
a little bit of this guy again. This guy's awesome. I almost
That's
want another one
fantastic.
to make his another character in this with this race because I have the parts for it. And then I had just a retro Viper. This dude is so much
Yes,
fun. He's
sir.
so
Yes,
much fun.
sir. And he looks fantastical. Yes, we are
But
back.
these Savage Crucibles are amazing, and I encourage
Yeah.
anybody to pick them up who has any interest at all in them because they are solid figures.
Yeah, man. They've done nothing but make solid figures, actually. And any of you that obviously collect them know that. You definitely don't need me to say that. That's for sure. So I did get a couple of these guys the last couple days.
Oh
The
yeah,
little blowtorch and dial tone there came in the mail as well, or whatever. Um,
yeah.
so very stoked, and then I picked up a little something at Walgreens.
Ooh, check that
A little
out.
something at Walgreens. Let's see. I'll swap this over. This
There you
is the
go.
Eren Yeager
Yeah,
Attack on Titan figure, and this is actually a super cool figure that if those of you that don't know about Attack on Titan is a very highly regarded anime. It is really cool. It is weird, but it is really cool. It's kind of like a giants versus little people kind of thing.
yeah.
And kind of an interesting concept, but really cool. But anyway, saw this. It was on clearance at Walgreens, and yeah, so like, hey, I'll pick it up. But one other thing that I picked up, and I have to show this, so let me share my screen with everyone, is because I picked
Ah,
up this issue of G.I. Joe, Real American Hero 318. And wouldn't you know, ladies and gentlemen, in the very back of this issue, there's a letter. Who's that letter from, Matthew?
I think guys from Talking Joe, they always write letters in there.
Yeah, that's one Matthew Matson, the very last letter, folks. One Matthew Matson, who also did a cover of the, with action figures, as you can see there. Let's see, and but yeah, so you have a letter in the back of this, and like I said, it's easy to find. It's the last letter. It also shows your photograph recreating a cover as well. Um, and but at the same time, you said that there's a few other things maybe added to your letter. Is that correct? Like a
Yeah, I
little bit of
actually I ended up emailing him about it too. I said, "Hey, I appreciate you publishing my letter, but you know those first four paragraphs were not written by me. You might want to credit the person who actually wrote them because it and you know if you watch the episode of Talking Joe's on it, we actually discussed it live. I was in the chat and they were on screen.
I saw
Um,
that.
and Tim Finn was like, having met Matthew in real life, he's an adult and it doesn't seem like he would write something like that on those first four paragraphs that were on there. And I'm like, well, I know adults that would write that too, but it wasn't me.
Sure.
I didn't say that. My only comment was about the awesome cover art and that. but there was this whole thing about issue 400, what they should do for issue 400. And I'm like, dude, that's, yeah.
Do you think that was a ghostwriter on staff who maybe added a little bit to your letter, possibly, or your email?
You know what? I do know that that does happen.
Yes.
They say there's not enough here for us to print this one
Mm-hmm.
little thing. I was like, but it was that thing in the picture, so I thought it'd be fine. But no,
Right.
they got to throw some padding in there about some weirdness that somebody came up with at some point. Or it's an editorial mistake because Tim Finn is really good at catching all their editorial mistakes, and so they bring it out, and some of them they've actually fixed for the reprints. So there's people checking
Sure.
it, and Diana Davis is an editor on the book, and she watches that show, and she tries to catch as much as she can, but apparently they're not giving her the scripts anymore because she's so nitpicky about everything. And
It
it's like
just
she's trying to do right by the fans and everything, but they're like kind of pushing her to the side because she's pointing out too many issues.
Well, I just thought it was interesting that, you sent a letter in, and obviously whenever any of us have ever done that in the past, or, obviously back in the day, right, as a kid, right, you're writing, mailing off a letter, right, and you
Yeah.
hope that it might get read and published or whatever. But I just thought that was quite interesting that most of that wasn't really you. And they're like, thank you, Matthew, so much for the questions about issue 400. What I was like,
and I'm like,
okay. So anyway, so here we are, another Tuesday night live. I apologize for not going live on Sunday night, but man, oh man, the last several days have been rough. You can probably hear it a little bit, so we'll power through tonight. Got my coffee here, ready to go. Um, let's go ahead and at the very least say hello to our chat. And as people roll in, I'll try to highlight and say hey to everybody. Mr. Magus is here. He says, let's talk about this fictional woke character that seems more important than anything else to talk about on Fox. I'm guessing we're talking about Ironheart. Could be my guess. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I don't think anybody's talking about that anymore.
Not really. Not really. It did not really crack anything streaming numbers wise, and with good reason. Quite honestly, it's just not a good show. As a matter of fact, really the one thing I could definitely say about it, it seems like a bunch of like 48-year-old white women trying to write dialogue for black teenage or black 20-year-old Zoomers. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know that when you hear it, right? Like,
Yeah.
people don't talk like that. They just don't talk like that. And so throughout that entire show,
Yeah.
it's dialogue that just doesn't sound correct. It's like nobody talks to each other like that. It's so strange. But
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, and then you said it last week too. I mean, it was so poorly written. It's clearly, you know, people who don't understand what they're even trying to write about.
yeah, and also don't go back and watch the movies or review what's been
Yeah.
made before, which I think is the worst thing of all. If you can't understand the history of what's been made with your company, then when you write new stuff, it's like none of it really fits together and makes any
Yep.
sense. So,
Yep.
3-star draw, green leader standing by. Joe Fan 84, what's going on, man? Let's see. Turk Murphy's Toy Solutions is in the house. What's up, Turk? Good to see you, my friend Graf. What's in the box? Free Baroness. I need to, because, who
Yeah.
doesn't like a good Baroness, right? Especially the one that's in here, even though the color is a little bit different, and some people are happy about that, some people are not. But I can't wait. And yes, unfortunately, I've been staring at the box for a few days. I just pulled it out of the double box tonight
Yeah.
to hold it up.
Ooh.
But yeah, so hopefully tomorrow I'll get into it. Clint Jorgensen's in the house. What's up, Clint?
What's up, Clint?
Good to see you, friend. Let's see here. Menjoza in the
What's up?
house. Good to see you, Menjoza. Krusty Old Crow is here. King of the North. Always likes a good hat. Well, Matthew's got a great one. And mine needs to be retired. It's
Uh,
about that. Yeah, it's maybe time to get a different color.
mm,
Normally in my life, I've tended to wear the black hat, but
mm.
here in the last year, I've had the white hat. So maybe it's time to go flip flop back. I don't know. Ronnie Trickshot, what's up, my friend? Let's
But
see.
hold on now.
Yeah.
But we need the contrast.
Well, it is true. The contrast does work, and I can't argue with that. Maybe it'd just be a different color, but a lighter color
Okay, okay.
instead of because I do have a black fedora or dark gray up there, but it doesn't sit right on my head. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I have a weird head, as many of us probably really do, especially without hair on it. But it doesn't quite sit right. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Let's see. Stanley's here. Stanley, what's going on, man? Good to see you, buddy. Bobby Wold is
What's
in the
going
house
on?
as well. Yes, the tooth has been taken care of.
Yeah.
Yes, it has, and feels much better. Now, if I can get over this summer cold, I'll be doing way better than the tooth. Todd C is here as well, and I think we've run down the list. Squid Games 3, have not had a chance to watch it. I do know the story, but
Mhm.
I am going to watch it with my son because he actually really did enjoy the first season and the second season. So I want
Okay.
to watch it with him before he has to go back to school. So maybe the next couple days we'll kind of knock that out and
Yeah. I you
talk
know,
to you
I
guys about it.
I never got around to watching the second season. I thought the first season was one and done, and that's what the creator wanted, and so I didn't I wasn't that interested in seeing the second one.
Yeah, and without going into too much detail, because I know people really do enjoy the show, I thought the second
Yeah.
season was good. It's
Okay.
really hard to top what was that phenomenon of that first season that people just fell in love with it. And we've come to find out recently that Korean cinema, foreign cinema, Bollywood even,
Hmm.
people are absolutely, going crazy over and doing better than what we've been able to produce over here.
Yep.
And that was one of those shows that came out of that in the last 5, 6, 7 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. Never have to stream again. I have a weird head. Come on, man. I love to stream. Sabir is here as well.
So
Sabir, good to see
Severe.
you, man. Always. So, we got a little. I guess we got a little news. Obviously, box office. We usually hit up first. But I did want to pay some respects, at the very least, first and foremost, because we did have some actors pass away recently, like back to back to back,
Hmm.
like really quickly,
Yeah.
all together. Some of those very well known, some of those very well known, but you don't know them by name.
Yeah.
One of those very well known, obviously, is Michael Madsen, 67 years young. Obviously, Donnie Brasco, Reservoir Dogs. He's done video game voiceover work. He's done all kinds of stuff. Very recognizable guy.
Yeah.
I'd say Reservoir Dogs probably was that one that most people really identify him with. I mean, I
That
could
that
be
kind
wrong.
of I mean that scene was so intense that really put him on the map for a lot of different things. And
You talking about the gasoline
yeah.
scene
Oh
and the
yeah.
Steelers wheel and
Yeah.
dancing with the yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I mean, it was so intense and it was really wonderful. And then I was like, I got to follow this guy. And, there was always the rumor that Tarantino wanted to make the Vega Brothers movie. And I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And I was begging for the Vega Brothers movie forever to see the two characters together, John Travolta and Michael Madsen.
Oh
I would have
sure.
that would have been amazing. But obviously that never happened.
Right. And I mean, look, I have seen golly, seen so many video. I played so many video games that he's done voice acting in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you forget all the different movies that he's been in, and we could bring up a freaking list, and
Yep.
it would just you run it a mile long. But he probably out of this group, probably the most famous. I would say there's one other that's up there with him as well, that I'll bring up now, and then we'll get to the other two actors. And then somebody said that
Yeah.
Cletus passed away. I was that today? Was that yeah, Kill Bill 1 and 2, right? Yeah, for sure. I mean, people could probably sit here and list movie after movie after movie, right? And go to IMDb
Yeah.
and just run down and then go, oh crap, that's right. He was in that. He was in that.
Yeah.
Um, but okay, so last week is when Cletus passed away. Okay.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, June
So
26th.
Julie McMahon, who did play Doctor Doom in the 2005 Fantastic Four, 56 years old, man.
Yeah,
That's
so young.
basically 6 years older than me. I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of you are right there in that ballpark. Obviously on Charmed, I remember back in the day because I mean, look, I like to watch Charmed back in the day for six things. I'll let you guess what those six things are.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, got
Yeah, right.
it.
Nip Tuck. Yep, it was a show that I heard a lot about. Never watched, but I heard a lot of things about it. A lot of good things about Nip Tuck.
Yeah.
Heard it was fantastic. That was like a FX show, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
But obviously Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four movie in 2005. But 56 years old, man. Golly, that's. I mean, it hits home, right? You see 67, you see 74, 82, 87, but 56, man, that's just a few years away.
Yeah.
So that's a shame. So Julie McMahon, rest in peace. I have a couple others that I will bring up here. Let's see if come on, come on, come on. There we go. All right. And so
Yeah,
we
I mean
also have
it's way too
Peter.
young.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Peter Henry Schroeder, Star Trek and Argo actor, 90 years old. If you remember this guy, I remember this guy on Star Trek
Yep, he played
for
a
sure.
bunch of different characters,
Uh huh. Yep.
but obviously Neelix was his biggest, right?
Yep. It's Klingon Chancellor, Star Trek Enterprise. Was 90 years old.
Yeah.
And I love this quote though. I had a long and rich life, and I thank God for it. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fantastic. And look, served in the U.S. Army during the Korean War. Saw Marilyn Monroe perform for the troops. Pretty cool. But there's the picture of him as the
Chancellor.
Klingon Chancellor. Yep.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and then I've got one more, and this one might hit close to home, folks. It might very well hit close to home as I close out some of these tabs. You guys may recognize. Come on.
Mr. Magnus is going to die of a seizure because of the background.
Stop it. Stop it, Mr. Madgus.
Hey, look, that's not
Stop
how
it. You know
seizures
what that
work.
background is.
Yeah, that's not how seizures work. It's not flashing lights or anything.
You
It's
watched
just
that
nice,
background as a
calm.
yes. You watched that background as a kid many, many times. And then Star Wars actor Kenneth Coley dies at 87 with COVID and pneumonia.
Yeah.
He was in The Life of Brian. He also was Admiral Piet, for those of you that don't remember. It very famous Vader line, lines with Piet because he gets promoted to Admiral, which I thought
Yep.
was fantastic. Yeah, he passed away at 87 years old. 150 on-screen roles between
Wow.
61 and 2024. Wow. Holy crap. That's a working actor.
Yep.
I mean, regardless of what it is, that
Yeah.
is a working actor. That's the only thing you could hope to be in Hollywood is a working actor, which right now there's not as many as there used
Not
to
so
be.
many.
Yep.
Pedro
So
Pascal's
look,
taking all their roles.
evidently, yeah, because we'll talk about him. Evidently, he's being cast in something else, or at least we think he is. It's rumor, conjecture, but look, let's talk about the box office. Let's get into it. We won't spend too much time on this because we do have some stories to get to, and I think some interesting stories to get to. So let me make sure I get this into a format that makes sense, and you guys can see Jurassic World Rebirth, 1 weekend in release, 147 million domestically,
Mm.
equally almost about the same in the foreign box office internationally. So this movie, do you think it's going to hit $1 billion?
I don't know. With everything else that's coming out this month, I think it should, but I don't know.
It's Mr. Magnus. Really quickly too, I wanted to let you know I did find that with Pedro. I
Yeah.
did find that, and I'm not sure I want to watch it after
Right.
looking at the
Yeah.
trailer, and it's the worst of what I think it is. But I did find it, and I wanted to let you know that I did remember that today. So um, Jurassic World Rebirth. Look, it's dinosaurs eating people. Let's not kid
Yeah.
ourselves. Let's
It's
not
gonna
make it
do well.
anything more than what it is. I talked to
Yeah.
some people at work today. They want to go see it.
Yep.
I talked to a girl who I work with who did see it in IMAX. She loved it.
Yep.
Over the moon about it. I get it. That is a popcorn movie for the popcorn movie crowd,
That's
right?
it. Yeah.
And so it's going to do what it's going to do. Uh, let's not pretend like there's some
So
great story.
if this movie breaks over 1 billion, then Superman and Fantastic Four are sunk, because that
It
means people are going to rewatch Jurassic Park and they're not going to watch Superman and Fantastic Four.
and that's a movie that is extremely formulaic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's like, hey, just entertain me, right?
Yeah.
Just entertain me.
Hey,
And
that's all we've been asking for.
people know what they're getting out of it. And you are correct, Mr. Magus. The black man did live. Listen, that's like, how in the world are they going to kill off Blade? Well, what would have been Blade? No way in the world, right? No, they can't kill that guy off, and obviously
Hey,
Black Widow,
did you guys
her
see
too.
Pitch Black? Did you guys see Pitch Black? Because the black guy lived in
Yeah,
Pitch Black as well.
yeah, that's true. I do remember though, what was it, Deep Blue Sea or whatever, where Sam Jackson's giving that speech. He's like, "We're gonna get out of here," or whatever, and then all of a sudden the shark comes up and it's just like, you know. I remember that scene. It's so funny. But no, no, no. Yeah, I've heard. I've heard about it. I mean, if you get spoiled about Jurassic Park, you can't be too upset, right? Like you can't be too mad. But I did hear about that, and I think it's great, man. I think it's
Yeah.
great, and it's worth highlighting, Mr. Magus. It is absolutely worth highlighting, my friend. Uh, and yes, Garaf, it would be crazy to have a Jurassic Park movie with an actual good story and acting. I think ultimately people know what they're getting into,
Yeah.
and the studio
Yeah.
knows that. So in that respect, they know what they're making. The first movie I think has some interesting themes of
Mhm.
what should and shouldn't be done. I think there's stories of greed in there, and
Mhm.
not the super superficial stories of greed, like
Right.
but with Nedry and taking the eggs and whatever, the whole
Yeah.
thing. I just interesting. I think there's some interesting themes. The subsequent movies have basically just turned into schlocky
Hmm.
chase horror films, right? It is what it is. F1, word of mouth, doing really well.
Yeah.
In
I
second place, it has dropped off quite a bit, but I've heard great things about F1. Great things
yeah.
about F1.
I would love for that movie to overtake everybody, but I don't think it's going to happen. But it's a pretty good movie, and I think people should go out and see it. So
It's just, I think, from what I've heard, beginning to end, is just very solid.
yeah.
Doesn't have any downtime, and it's just one of those movies you walk out of going, yeah,
So
yeah, that was good.
so
Yeah.
these two movies that are at the top of the box office right now, they've
Hmm.
got this one thing in common. They set expectations and they met expectations. Right?
Okay.
People know what they're getting into when they go watch these movies. You're going to watch a guy's movie about racing cars, or you're going to watch a movie about dinosaurs eating people. Okay?
Right.
I mean, that's expectations, and they deliver. And there's
I know what
nothing
you're getting at.
extraneous about any of
I know what
that.
you're getting at. Because even from a marketing standpoint, and I didn't see a ton of stuff with F1. Okay, I didn't see a ton of marketing with F1,
Yeah.
at least not for me. And um, but you're right. You know what you're getting. There's no mystery. They're not trying to hide anything from you. There's no shady trailer. Or we're seeing a million clips, right? With Fantastic Four, we've got nothing but like clip after clip after clip after clip, and it's like, damn, man, like stop with the clips.
Yeah.
Give me a couple, three trailers, right?
Right.
Teaser, trailer one, trailer two, and then let's go to the movies. I don't need a bunch of 30-second Instagram clips or
Right.
minute clips of the robot and this and that, and then all the marketing tie-ins with Kraft macaroni, right? And Orville Redenbach or whatever it is, right? Like let's get the movie, right? And
Yeah.
but racing movies typically, if they're done well and they have good camera action, people tend to really enjoy, right?
Oh yeah,
How to Train Your Dragon coming in at number three, still doing very well.
good. Yep.
224 at the domestic box office. You're looking at international 294.
Mm.
So holding strong at 500 mil. Elio, man, 3 weekends in release, only 55 million domestic. We could consider that probably as a flop. 28 years later, which I don't think there's much hype for. Even though most people really do enjoy the first movie, maybe second one not as much. Doing okay. Mithrigan 2.0 was extremely disappointing, and even the people who made the movie have spoken out about they thought they maybe tried to do too much
Mm.
with that movie and tried to have her be too many different things.
Yeah.
And with the next one, they need to narrow their focus. So they kind of went too broad
Yep.
with the Megan 2.0 or whatever, and it really isn't landing with people like the first one.
Yeah.
Lilo and Stitch, definitely Mission Impossible, still hanging on there. Still going to be Mission Impossible, man. I mean, 191 domestic, 385 international, performing way better overseas than
Yeah.
what I would have. I mean, wow, like
Yeah.
that almost 400 million overseas. Man, that's actually doing very well. Uh, Materialists, it's an A24. I'm not as familiar, to be quite honest with you.
Yep.
Uh, and then this is Spinal Tap, rounding out the top 10, which, hey, re-released in theaters, 2,100 and weekends in release. I hate when they do that. I think it's so
Yeah.
disingenuous.
Right.
But hey, this is Spinal Tap. Amazing, amazing movie. And for anybody that's a music fan, you should go back and watch it again. You'll find something new to love about that film if you go back and watch it now, years later,
Right.
if you haven't seen it for a while. Let's see here. Really scrolling through the chat quickly. Let's
Yeah.
see. Graph says, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna comment on Gref's other one. There is like, yeah, Sinners is already on streaming on Max,
Yeah.
so you can watch it
Yeah.
there. I'd recommend it if you're at all interested. Go watch it because it's pretty good.
Deep Blue Sea. Graph says, I only remember the scene where the girl was getting up on a desk to shock a shark. I was shocked as well. Yeah. Yeah, I bet you were. Uh, let's see. Jurassic Park Fast and Furious crossover. Are you into that? Are you into that? T Rex is
Hey,
strong, not as strong as family.
I'm not as strong as family. Okay, but okay. I mean, you've got to throw in some zombies in there.
Dude, I, I would go see that. I would go see that. It's like one of those battle simulators that you could play. It's like a game you can play, and you
Yeah.
can you could set up like 100 T Rexes versus like one Darth Vader,
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
see how Vader would do against 100 T Rexes. Like it's so goofy, but yeah, it's called Tabs. Totally accurate battle simulator, and it's the dumbest shit. Oh, my son just turned around. He's like, "Wait, did you say Tabs?" Yeah, he knows all about it. You're like, "Yeah, let me set up one Gollum versus 300 Saurons." It's like it's just so dumb. It's like, yeah, it is. It's a pretty good game. But anyway, yes, Ghost in the Shell. It is mandatory to see Scarlett Johansson in that suit. I agree with you there. Um, and let's see. Yeah, you saw Graf's comment there. Um, yeah, Turk Sinners that movie. By all accounts, is worth seeing. And look, Michael B. Jordan, man, Michael B. Jordan is a bona fide quality actor.
Yeah.
I mean, he's interested in his craft. Let's just say that, and for
Well,
that, I appreciate.
if you watch his performances, you can tell he puts everything into every role that I've seen him in, and
Yeah,
he transforms the script into something else, right? It's
right.
words on page, but he actually emotes and creates something different from it. So I appreciate his movies for sure.
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, whether it's Fruitvale Station or anything else. Apollo, like he's pretty much banged out most every movie he's been in has been a quality
Yeah.
film, and his acting has been at the top of the heap. So
Yep.
let's get into something that some of y'all might be interested in, because I know that many of you really enjoyed Obi Wan Kenobi season one. I know there was a lot of fans out there that really enjoyed season one. Even if it had Obi Wan facing Vader, you know,
Obi-Wan meeting
uh,
Leia.
Obi Wan meeting Leia. Uh, I A 10-year-old running around in a full diaper. It was it was pretty embarrassing to me, and I watched it because I was hoping against all hope that it was good, because I do
Yeah.
like Ewan McGregor and I do like that
Yeah.
character, and I
You
liked
know,
what he did with that character.
right. And I want Ewan to be successful, and I like his acting, and I love his passion for this character. But man, this show was just not good.
It was pretty rough. And were there moments in season one, or what would really truly be considered the only season? Yes, there were moments. I thought that Hayden Christensen's performance, especially after that particular fight, his words, I did enjoy that scene. I thought that was very good, even though within context, I'm not a fan of that scene
Right.
within the larger lore picture.
Right.
But I did like what he did there. But evidently, this is Paul Tassi with Forbes. You may know that name. I'm not a big fan of Paul Tassi,
Yeah,
but
not so much.
he gets given all the scoops. This is May return Disney Plus season 2 of Obi Wan Kenobi. Somehow Obi Wan Kenobi may return. I love at least that use of the phrase. Somehow Palpatine has returned.
Somehow.
Um, so yeah, it says there's some potential developments with the series not mentioned above. Obi Wan Kenobi. New report from Daniel Rickman, who is about a 50-50 hit or miss guy on scoops when it comes to Disney in particular. Says Obi Wan Kenobi 2 season 2 is in development. Now it aired in 2022. In development would be there's
Oh,
4 to 5 years between seasons, which is way too long to try to do multiple seasons of a show. People can't spend 10 years following a show that has 3 seasons.
yeah.
It's just not. I don't know how they keep doing this. I don't know why it keeps taking so long. Um, but that's just how Disney Star Wars works. It has an 81% score from critics, 61% from fans. Obi-Wan Kenobi season 1. So in my eyes, I don't know why they would make another season. I don't think that they would get the viewership to spend $200 million. It's obvious on season 1 they spent way less money than they spent on the Acolyte, right? Which was just unbelievable. It is what it is.
Well, so then they must have spent all of their money on Ewan
Well, and you know that he took
and
up a decent
Hayden.
amount of the budget, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hayden maybe not as much because he hasn't really been doing as much.
Yeah, but he's the draw,
He
right?
he he
So,
is he is the draw. I agree with you there. So this is McGregor speaking at kind of the end, and when Obi-Wan aired. It says, obviously between the end of Obi-Wan Kenobi series and when Alec Guinness is Obi-Wan Kenobi, there's got to be another few stories in there. We're definitely hoping, or well, exploring that, I think would be the word to say. I'm
yeah.
sure those discussions, excuse me, have come up. I'll ask you this, and not to spend too much time on this topic. Why in the world would they spend $150 million on a budget to make a show that no one's gonna watch?
Yeah. I don't get it. It's money laundering. I mean, I said it before.
It,
This is
yeah,
how they launder money. This is how they extort money from the banks and squirrel it away somewhere, and hide it off the books. Which is again why Bob Jacob was fired. on a Sunday night at an Elton John concert because he would have had to investigate these fraudulent things with Bitcoin and all this other stuff that Disney's been involved with, where they've been losing so much money. I
Yeah, the
mean,
Sam Bankman-Fried. I mean, man, when Bob Iger's name was said on air
yeah,
by one of the Shark Tank, people there, talking about people that had lost a lot of money in that whole thing, and
boom, stop cast,
yes, they cut
cut
him
feed.
off. They cut the feed.
Yep,
Yeah, they cut him. They cut his mic.
yep,
That was really interesting, man. Yeah, you guys can go back and watch that. But yeah,
yep.
the whole Bitcoin thing, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of money. You're right. They were involved, it seems, in that and lost a lot of money. But I just don't know why they would do this, and I don't think anybody's asking for this. I think if the first season had been the original script that originally was going to be a movie, it was
Yeah.
supposed to be a movie, and from all accounts, the guy who wrote a script for it, he came out, he did an interview, he talked about with Star Wars Theory his ideas
Oh yeah,
about the script and went
yep,
through it. And that sounds far more
yeah,
interesting than anything they did. And you could tell
yep,
studio notes came in. They said,
yep,
we got to make Leia the focus, right?
yep,
We need to show her as a strong, independent 10-year-old woman
yep,
with a
yeah.
full diaper. And it just bombed. It was so bad. So I don't know why they waste their money. Would I watch it?
So
Yeah,
my
I would.
question um, is this the highest rated Disney Plus show since The Mandalorian? I'm just asking. Out of all the Star Wars shows, is this the highest critic rated one? Um, eh,
Damn.
I mean, they could be using those kind of metrics. Like, look, it's an 80 something percent. It's so
Sure.
good. People want to see more of it, or the critics want to see more of it, or it's critically acclaimed. It's like, Andor was a good show. Andor has a lot of quality to it. I don't know what the critic ratings were on that either. I know the fan ratings were high. Um,
Well, that
for the
there's always this discrepancy between the two,
well,
and
yeah,
it,
exactly.
it
Who's the paying customer?
right. I mean, then the fans have a low percentage, and yet the critics are shouting from the rooftops how good this show is. And then when the critics say that something's not that good, the fans are, hey, no, it's actually really good. So there's
Yeah,
always that discrepancy. I trust the people who are actually not getting paid to watch it,
yeah,
and not receiving free goodies to review it.
yep,
I trust those people more than I trust the Access Media. Yes, Sabir, it is the way they do this. I don't know why they do this. I mean, do you guys remember when network television, they would pump out like a season? It was 22 episodes, and then you'd have your sweeps. Remember, you break the
yeah.
show up, then you'd have sweep season, right, for ratings. You figure out what got renewed, and then they'd make another 22 episodes, and you did that year after year after year after year, and somehow they can't seem to make a 3-season show in
Can
8 to 10 years.
can you imagine what the world would be like if we got shows again? 26 episodes. Okay, that's
Oh yeah,
6 months of programming that
right.
you've got there to hook people in, to get people interested, to get people to watch the show or continue to watch it. Advertising money, and so they've been lying about the advertising numbers. So the advertisers are going to stop. They're going to realize this soon enough. They're going to stop actually advertising with these companies because they're lying about those numbers too.
It's just so counter, productive, and then the budgets also get bigger.
Yeah.
So that's like, we talk like every week, sometimes we talk about this, but it's just the truth. Like the quality of the shows get worse, the dialogue is worse, the acting is worse, but the budgets get bigger. They greenlight shows, or they put them out. Like recently with Ironheart, they've been sitting on for 3 years, and they're like, well, we got to do something with it, right? But it's just one of those things. Like, I don't know how this model will continue to work. Like, something
Right.
has to change.
Something has to
Um,
give.
and I just don't know, with this, another season of Obi Wan, what, 8 episodes, 10 episodes?
Yeah, it's
Who
ridiculous.
cares? Who cares? Now, Top Gear, that was a quality show. Um,
Yeah. So
but
for whatever reason, the American market has switched to the BBC's method because the BBC's method in the 70s, 80s, 90s was in general to make 6 episodes per series, and then they would see how it did and then try to go back for more after that. 8 if they were really a profitable show and they knew they were going to be a profitable show, and
Right.
that's what they did. 12 was unheard of until the early 2000s, right? And then they
Oh,
started upping
sure.
their numbers and we started lowering our numbers. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, it's interesting. Fewer episodes, and some people say, well, if you have 22 episodes, 26 episodes, there's a bunch of filler, right?
Yeah.
A bunch of filler in there. Well,
Is there?
yes,
Is there?
maybe that's true. There's some episodes that aren't as good as others, but now we'll get 10 episodes and 3 of them will be filler. So what's better? What's
Right.
worse?
Yeah.
Is having a few out of 22 or 26, or is it out of 10 or 8 that you get 3 or 4 episodes that are filler and
Or in
really
the
get you
case of
nowhere?
or in the case of Ironheart, there's 6 episodes and you have 6 episodes of fillers because nothing
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah,
So
no, it's and actually right here, Bobby Willis says when is season 2 of the Acolyte come probably close to season 2 of Ironheart. Here's the thing. Ironheart, the end of Ironheart is set up to bait a sequel.
mhm.
That's what's so sad about it. Like it literally is set up to bait a sequel. And I don't know who in the world would think that just end the story, man. Like there's who thought they were going to get a sequel out of that thing? I don't know. Uh, yeah, look, even Trek in the 80s, 90s were about 25 plus episodes, 7
Yeah,
seasons.
26
Exactly.
episodes.
And
Yeah.
then you could sell DVDs or you could,
Well,
VHS or DVDs of those seasons, and you could then wrap that up in a box set that had all of them, right? At least one season at a time. And
so
and that's
the
another stream of revenue,
so
right?
the prime number I believe is 96 episodes or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was somewhere between 74 to 96 episodes, and that's that demarcation point where you hit what's called syndication, and you could be
Yes.
syndicated. And if you were syndicated, man, you got so much revenue for being broadcast across so many different channels. So syndication was the thing. Okay, you have enough episodes that we can provide content for a while, for 2 years of content, right? Or
Right.
or 10, 9 weeks of content if you want to show them every day or whatever. So that was kind of like that point that everybody wanted to hit that number, and that number usually hit around season 3, sometimes season 4 of a TV series. And so
I
everybody's
think
trying to hit that point to be syndicated.
I think what a lot of people are forgetting about that whole process as well is that actors who were in a long running successful show that would hit syndication
Yeah, oh
could
yeah,
live the rest of their lives off of residual checks.
the Rockford
You're
Files.
you're no longer, I mean, you're no longer getting that type of revenue stream for the people who
Yep,
start in the show, right?
yep,
They're getting paid less to be on Netflix,
yep.
right? And whatever. They're doing fewer seasons, if not one or two, then it gets canceled. So you think about that, even syndication, all those shows we grew up on that had 137 episodes, right? Or 99 or whatever that magic number was. Those actors could at least survive having been on a show, especially as a
Yep.
lead,
Right.
um, for the rest of their life, getting royalty checks, right, and residuals,
Yep.
and so that's something that is completely missing now, except for your CSIs and your Chicago's and your
Right.
Flame whatever
NCIS.
NCISs and all that crap, right? Your Grey's Anatomies, right?
Yep.
There's still going to be some of those shows, just much fewer of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twisted Metal season 2. I heard Twisted Metal season 1 was actually pretty fun.
Yeah.
I
I
did.
don't. I forgot what streaming service that was on, but I don't think I have it.
Yep. I heard it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And yeah, Murder She Wrote, 12, 20 plus episode seasons. I mean, that's, think of something like Matlock or what. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a
And
million
so
of them. You can think of a million of them. A million
in
of them.
the early 80s, it was 26 episodes, and then somewhere in the 90s, it kind of trimmed down to 22, 23, and then early 2000s, it was still trying to hedge the bets on the 20 something episodes. So that's always a good number for a
Yeah.
season because you have
Yep.
almost 6 months of programming if it's a weekly show.
So, so we're talking about the reboot. of one thing, right? Or earlier and talking about Obi Wan extending out.
Yeah,
So we also have something else that possibly is in the works of being rebooted, and that is nothing confirmed, mind you, but this is all kind of, it's out there. Indiana Jones writer offers divisive idea for how the beloved franchise can continue amid reboot rumors. Now, this is just from a few days ago off of Movie Web. But the main quote, well, I don't see it continuing. Everybody made it pretty clear. Harrison was like, yeah, I'm done. So it need to be somebody's brand new idea about how to come at that. I'd watch it as a streaming show. Streaming is perfectly suited to a serial adventure. What Indiana Jones was.
yeah.
He could have a season-long goal. You don't have to wrap up the story every week like with the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, but I think their plan is to just let it be for a while. Now, that's from one of the people who wrote on Indiana Jones, but then the other thing I wanted to bring up is this. Disney planning reboot of iconic film series, and fans want Pedro Pascal to play the lead. What do you think about a Pedro Pascal-led Indiana Jones series and or film?
So a lot of things happen in Hollywood that are predicated on let's see how the audience responds to this. And so they'll throw bullshit out there to find out who's watching and who's gonna comment on it. Because no fan of Indiana Jones would want Pedro Pascal to lead the franchise. Because most of the people, they want what's his name? Rocket Raccoon or Chris Pratt.
Right.
It's
Bradley
Chris Pratt,
Cooper.
Bradley Cooper, or Chris Pratt to be Indiana Jones. Those are the people that they're like, yes, those are manly enough men who can be portrayed as the archaeologist, as a smart, intelligent action guy to go out there and do these things. Pedro Pascal, he doesn't fit that. Not from anybody who's a fan of Indiana Jones. You've got fans of political identity nonsense
Sure,
that like
sure.
Pedro, and they want him in everything. And I don't believe that that's really a large portion of the buying population. I'll say the consumer
So
population.
I wanted to say hey to Gun Bunny Customs. What's up, Gun
What's
Bunny?
up?
Good to see you here. Thank you so much for swinging by. Yeah, Dreadnought. Wrong show. Sunday night though. We'll get into that. Don't you worry. And then this is what I was thinking, and Bobby Wold kind of nails it. They should do Indiana Jones in the Star Wars, the Clone Wars animation style. Now, whether that's that style or another style, personally, I would rather see it with Harrison Ford's likeness in animation than I would in live action. Because I think that it's Harrison Ford's role. And I
Yeah.
just don't know how you would cast anyone else in that role. I know we talk about it all the time. Marvel, they should have
Yeah.
recast Cap. They should have recast Tony. They should have recast this character. But in this particular instance, like those started out as comic characters. They've been drawn differently through the years, right?
Yeah.
This is an iconic actor who portrayed this role, and I just don't know that anyone else, especially Pedro Pascal,
No, Pedro couldn't do it.
can bring that to life. And so to me, I think an animated serial, you could do so much with that. Whether
Yeah.
that's the fantastical, alien, if whatever,
And
time
then,
travel, you could do
well,
so much with that and do it well,
and
right?
then
With his likeness.
you go back and you find the actor who got his role in a Harrison Ford time travel movie because of his YouTube presence, imitating Harrison Ford's movie parts, who actually played his younger self because he actually looks like him too. But you could use him because he can do his voice so well that
Right.
he could do the animated voice, or cast him in the live action part.
Right.
He could try his hand at that because he has done some acting.
Yeah, no, I agree. And look, just for you, Ronnie Trick Shot, there you go. Just for you.
Chris
There's your
Pine,
trench coat
no.
shot. There you go, buddy.
Look at
I don't even know what
those
you
legs.
call. What do you
Look at those
call
legs.
this? Like literally, what the hell do you call this
Mental
style?
delusion.
I don't even know, man. Like this is so ridiculous. It's your fault, Ronnie. It's your
Yeah.
fault. You know
Uh,
that,
uh,
right?
Dreadnought, Chris Pine, no. And earlier I did say Pratt. It was clearly I said Chris Pratt. I don't know what you're hearing, but I don't know.
So it's funny, right? So Stanley says Walton Goggins.
No, he's too scummy looking.
He
He's not
and
an
and
Indiana
I don't know that
Jones.
he's got that the rugged
Yeah.
enough. And I know that messed
Well,
people say, oh, I don't know, maybe he's done. I, I don't think he's handsome enough, if that
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. I
Because that,
agree.
like I don't
Yeah,
think he quite has that nailed down. Garaf says, and look, yeah, from the quotes, right? It says many agreed that Pedro 50 would be perfect for the role, right? It's like, yeah, many agreed. Who did they poll exactly? Where did they poll them? Who did
they
they
went. They
gather them off of? What
well,
magazine?
clearly they went to Blue Sky and polled people over at Blue Sky.
Okay, Bobby Wold, Glenn Powell,
Maybe, maybe.
right? That would be my that would at age wise, and I guess from that people's most beautiful man thing or whatever, right? Most whatever it is. From that aspect, I could see that. I still think animation is
Yeah,
the way to go, and I think you could do so much
yeah.
more
Did you
with
ever
that
watch the
myself.
show Parker Lewis Can't Lose?
Yes.
So I can't not see Parker Lewis whenever I hear Glenn Powell's name.
That's pretty wild, man. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's interesting. Um, so you know, do I think Pedro? I mean, just looking. I mean, quickly as we'll scroll down it, just looking at these picks, like even with Reed Richards, I don't like it. I think what we've been shown of that character, which look again, this is written, this is scripted, this is somebody writing the character a certain way, which they don't want Reed to be in that toxic male role. Okay, so he's playing a part, but I just don't see it, and I think a lot of people they're like, oh, I mean, come on, look at the, get the out of here. Are you serious? Between these two actors, like, what
Yeah.
are we even discussing here? Like, this is, come on, man. I mean, that's embarrassing. And of course, you're gonna get people on Twitter that are like, I think it'd be great. This works well. I'd watch the hell out of that. I mean, look at that guy. Come on.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. No, oh, and here's a good one right here. Right. Like I love this. We all know what's coming. And it's like, yeah, because Disney has made him their bitch, right? Like he's locked in with Disney. He's locked. Yeah, not so much.
Mhm.
So not a big fan of a Pedro reboot, or Pedro led reboot of Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
I
and
want
and
no part of that.
I mean, this has to be a feeler thing. This isn't something
You're
that's
right.
actively being discussed. This is
Throw
this
it out
is
there.
see what
Yep.
sticks.
See what sticks. Throw it out there. Um, so I did see this. I thought this was a perfect Zoomer article, and I want to bring this up with you because I thought this headline alone makes me feel old. You'll soon be able to buy. Now this is off of Newsarama. Okay, Newsarama is your source for comic book news. I've never heard of them, but I came across this article the other day. You'll soon be able to buy Fantastic Four comics off a newsstand, just the way our ancestors once did.
They clearly don't know what the word ancestor means.
Really? Because I'm 400 years old.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Of course, it is joke. He says, okay, you don't have to be that old, but it's seriously been a long time. So this is talking about putting out the Fantastic Four has done all kinds of retail ties with
And
everything,
and their
toothpaste,
best one is this one right here.
yeah, a comic
Be,
book.
well, no, they re-released the greatest
Oh,
Marvel
okay.
story ever told from the Fantastic Four. Right here, The Coming of
Mm,
Galactus, the
okay.
greatest story that they ever told in Marvel Comics in these 3 issues that they just reprinted. In like everything from the letters page on, they reprinted, and you can get a higher quality version of it than you did back in the day that'll last a little bit longer, and you'll have these issues right in your hand and right there. So don't go see the movie, go buy these comics.
Well, I'd have to say that those comics probably are going to do a better job. Look, I'll figure that out for myself, right? When I go see it. Could have been
Unfortunately,
seeing
yes.
Superman tonight, actually, but got a stream. But have an Amazon Prime, which I think most of us do. Um, you could have gone to see Superman tonight,
Yep.
7 p.m. Central, or whatever your local time. And
I had some
uh,
friends who went and saw it tonight.
I would have liked to have seen it to be able to give a out in the theater account of the film,
Mm.
but we'll have to wait until the 11th. So they gave this early screening. There's no other ones until then. However, we're going to bring it up here shortly. Early reviews for Superman. Early reviews, and kind of see what some are saying. Triple D's Dungeon, what's up, buddy? Good to see you,
What's
man.
up?
In the house. And Menjoza, I feel like an elder thing all the time as well. I'm with you 100%, man. And right there, it says Amazon has Fantastic Four Epic Collection, The Coming of Galactus, for 38% off at the moment. If you don't have it, it's not a bad buy,
Nope.
and you'll probably get more out of that than you will out of the film. It says here that Marvel's been going all out, channeling Silver Age of comics for the Fantastic Four. First Steps takes place in the mid '60s in its own timeline. However, that's
Hmm.
crucial.
Yep.
Now, it says they've announced a new Fantastic Four bookazine that can be purchased off of newsstands, just like way back in the old days. What qualifies as a newsstand? Marvel says it'll be retail outlets and wherever fine magazines are sold. Uh, that
Who buys
look,
magazines anymore?
I, do people still buy like Us Weekly or like Star Magazine while you're checking out at Kroger? Because it's
I
all self checkout now, so you don't
I
even really stand there looking at the
okay,
racks
so
of
so
of stuff.
you know what Target did recently, right? Is like they stopped doing all their self checkout stuff, and they forced everybody to go back to the cashier, the one cashier that they had
Oh
in a
Jesus,
line. So you had to go through the line again, and they
come
had
on,
their magazines up there and everything. There was such an outrage and such feedback that they had to open back up the self checkout because people were like, "Why the hell do I have to sit and wait in this freaking line?"
right?
And so they had to open back up the self checkouts because they got such a backlash over it because nobody cares. Nobody's buying candy. Nobody's buying magazines at the checkout anymore.
Right. I mean, it really is. It's interesting though, but there was a time where that was the standard fare, and
Yeah.
you got your World Weekly News and all that goofy stuff, Vampire Boy and stuff like that, at the checkout, right? And so will this make a dent? I don't know. I do appreciate them trying to partner with all kinds of goods, but I feel like it's desperate,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not just a McDonald's Happy Meal. It's not just a Wendy's combo or a
Right.
Popeyes chicken with the specialty glasses that you can get, collector's glasses. I mean, this is like there's so many products that they
Right.
have paired up with to do, and it just feels like they're pushing this thing so hard and nobody really cares.
Yeah. They
Do you
don't.
think part of the reason why nobody cares is because we've gotten so many failures of Fantastic Four movies prior to this?
Yeah. The best one's still the Roger Corman one that not many people have seen.
Right.
Um, but the Chris Evans ones had their charm, but they didn't have much traction. I still like those movies. I think that they're fine '90s esque cinema.
Yeah. It's I just feel like number one, Fantastic Four is not something that's on most people's radar,
Yeah.
especially your normal audience, right?
Yep.
And then on top of that, I don't think they're at the top of the heap for most of your comic buyers and your
No.
nerd community, right? Like, so it's got to be something that really grabs them. And I think the whole 60s vibe was like, hey, let's do something way different.
Yeah.
Let's introduce a world destroying where at this point now, folks, if you've seen the trailers, you know that and if you've seen Thunderbolts,
Yeah.
you know what happens.
Yeah.
You know the ending of this movie coming up later this month. You know the
Woohoo!
ending of it. You know
There
what
it is.
happens.
Shh, don't tell
And
anyone. They released it everywhere.
yeah, you're right.
Stanley, I have a question for you. Toy Collector Magazine. Isn't that like $15 or $30 an issue or
Whew,
something? I
holy
mean, I,
moly.
I, I looked at trying to subscribe to that because I wanted to support the people that were involved with it, and having the print copies and the stuff that's coming out in it, I thought was good material. But they were like charging a whole lot for it, at least from what I saw.
Dude,
Um,
that's a little more than I want to
yeah.
yeah, that's a lot more than I want to pay for a magazine, that's for sure. Maximum Warp is here. What's
What's
going on?
up?
And you are correct, Maximum
Yep.
Warp. The best Fantastic Four movie was The Incredibles. I'll tell you what, I don't even think we're going to get to see Reed Richards' powers very much. I think we're
No.
only going to get to see him stretch his arms out.
Hmm.
We're not going to see anything creative in
Nope.
this movie with his powers. Maybe they're going to surprise me. But
Yeah.
it just doesn't seem like it seems like we have more time in this movie for cooking scenes and get family get together dinners and talking about pregnancy and little quips and stuff. How many action scenes are we going to get, and how creative are they going to be? I haven't gotten that sense yet that they're going to
Yeah.
really get creative with, especially with Reed. And he's
Well,
not the focus of the movie anyway. He's not the focal
right.
point.
And I think it's fascinating because I've watched toy photographers over the past couple years doing Fantastic Four photos, and the stuff that they come up with by disassembling their action figures and connecting blue balloons that match the skin tone or the colors of the action figures
Right.
suit to wrap their balloon around the other action figures and to have him like look like he's stretching around is just genius what they've done with that kind of stuff. And there's not a creative bone in Disney's body that is that creative.
I mean, I just hope we get one example of something that kind of is unique like that. Just because I mean, it would be fun. Fun to see something different. I
Yeah.
mean, with CGI nowadays, if done properly, you really could do something where back in the day, 20 years ago, best they could do, right? Like, but it still looked. I don't even want to talk about the dance scene in the second movie. That shit with the two girls, on the dance floor with Reed, like that was, oh God, just so bad. Oh God, so bad. Um, but yeah, I hope they are able to get creative, and we'll see. Maybe they're just hiding it, right? Nolan is in the house.
What's up, Nolan?
Carlos is in the house.
What's
What's
up?
really going on? And he says, my movie viewing time and money are limited. I'd rather see man-eating dinosaurs than a Fantastic Four. I think you're not alone.
You're not alone.
You are not alone.
And that goes back to
100%
what I
not
said
alone.
earlier.
That's for sure.
If that Jurassic Park movie hits a billion or more, then Fantastic Four and Superman are not going to be making. They're not going to be making above 500 million.
I,
I'm
I,
just
man, oh man, oh man. I'm this box office for the year and this summer. If those two movies don't hit,
yeah.
woo, it's gonna be trouble city, and you might see some theaters closing.
Oh well,
I
they're
mean,
already on their
they're
way.
they already are, but you're gonna see more. Yeah, 3 star. I just want to see what they do with the Galactus. I think most people are probably
That's
most
it,
curious about that,
right?
right?
And Galactus is such an interesting character, and they had the HasLab that did really well with it. And there's so many things that you can do with it. It will be interesting to see what they can pull off story wise and with everything that they're trying to do. So we'll see.
Yeah. G.I. Jetman is in the house. What's up, G.I. Jetman? How you
What's up?
doing? Good to see you, brother. Let's see here. Looking at the
Thank,
chat real quick.
Thanks for
Yeah.
hanging out with us.
Yeah, Maximum Warp. Yeah, at least they're maybe getting, and we don't know yet, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully they're getting Galactus right. We don't quite know yet, but at least we know that it is a true like world-ending thing, and maybe accomplishes that goal. And ending a movie on a not so upbeat theme, I think, is quite interesting, and leading into Doomsday, leading into those movies, what this is going to do as a precursor to those movies. I'm curious
Yeah.
to see how they handle that.
Yeah.
And then let's see here really
Carlos,
quickly.
no, they're not releasing Galactus at
Yep.
retail. The HasLab was the one that was out there, and it's amazing. If you can find one for a decent price, it's well worth getting.
Yeah.
It was an amazing HasLab, probably, in my opinion, one of the best HasLabs that they've done. I want to say it's better than Unicron, but that's my opinion on it. Just because of the articulation, the lighting, this massive size of it. That was a true HasLab project. The Sentinels,
Right.
that was another okay one, right? But they messed some things up, and they also came out with smaller versions that are retail, that are still larger than the regular figure. So you got different scales of them. So it's interesting, but no retail Galactus is scheduled that I know of.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything either, and I know you and probably everybody in the chat would definitely know way more than I would. Saying seeing something that especially of scale, that makes sense like that. But even smaller, like I haven't really seen. And that's funny because we were talking about Fantastic Four and all the marketing tie-ins, but like I hadn't seen a ton of toys. I mean, I know we're going to see the usual fare, right, on your Target shelves. They're going to be peg warmers, but um, hadn't seen a
So
lot of toys really being pushed out there, like a Lego
yeah,
set or whatever. I
that
mean,
is interesting because Lego's been spoiling too many movies lately, so maybe they held off on
okay,
those.
yes, no, you're right. That happens often, even video games. Like they've
Yeah.
even done it with video games too. But you're right.
Yep.
Yeah, they have been spoiling a lot of stuff.
With all the
Um,
tie-ins that they're doing, I am surprised that they haven't had a Lego thing
yeah,
done, because they've done Legos with every other set. And quite honestly, if you want the best Doctor Doom and Fantastic Four set, you got to go find the Mezco ones, because those are phenomenal.
okay. All right. See, well, I like the Mesco stuff, man. I
Yeah,
like it. Some of it's hit
I
or miss, but
I
I
go back
like
and
a lot of
forth,
it.
but yeah, a lot of it's good or good enough, or just so detailed that I appreciate it for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, Jetman says they're really doing an Obi Wan season 2. That was my favorite Star Wars show. Don't know. That is just kind of conjecture right now, but there is someone who is has their ear to the rumor mill, who is hit or miss. Daniel Rickman, I've looked his stuff up. He's hit or miss. It's but if you hear enough stuff and you throw enough stuff at the wall, some of that stuff is going to stick. And
Yeah,
whether or not you know that or not, right? But you're getting
yeah,
some knowledge from people that work in the industry, maybe work on something, write for something,
yeah.
and you can have those anonymous sources. Eventually you're gonna hit on something. And then 3 Star Draw says better HasLab than a Snowcat. Uh, and Graf says that Galactus didn't come with a kitchenette that comes out of his side, though. I have to agree. I have to agree.
But he came with four heralds and some effects for him. I mean, and a
That's
Doctor Doom head, so you could swap out the head.
oh my god. Man, that Snowcat, boy, it's causing a little controversy, huh?
I don't know. It all
Man,
stems from the fact that so many people heard Lenny say it doesn't need to be a HasLab,
right.
right? The Thunder
Yes,
Machine and Snowcat
right.
don't need to be HasLabs. They can price it pointed enough, or dumb it down enough to make it a retail release for 100 to 150, $180,
Right.
and make it a fan channel exclusive or a Pulse exclusive, and then release it in limited quantities. They could have
Well,
done
that's
something like that, but to make it a HasLab, now granted they've beefed it up a lot and added a lot of different
yes.
features to it,
Beefed
which
it up.
which is, some people say it's worth it, some people say it's not. I don't see the same value that some other people see in it. It's not my favorite. I mean, I love the Snowcat, but I'm not entirely thrilled with this, and this shows what some people have been saying and fearing about HasLabs from the beginning, is that if you keep buying them, they're going to keep reducing what they give you with every HasLab.
Yeah, look, I get it. Let's not go off on too much of a tangent. I get it. I
Yep.
understand why people aren't thrilled with it, but I do think the offering and from a price point and everything that they are including in it, I think equals out. Like
Yeah.
it works out, right? I get that. I do.
Now,
And
the bivouac is more interesting to me than the whole rest of it, but I want it in green. So I know that that one's going to be made already because the tooling's already done.
yeah, right. I mean, but a lot of people said that. They're like, hell, if I could, I'd love to just have that, right? Of course.
So, and something that Circle Jerks brought up, and then I've heard several times from other streamers and people who are in the industry who know insiders. Once you hit that 8,000 mark and it funds, all of the molds for the entire everything and that project is paid for. So
At that price point,
so if you hit
yeah,
the
I believe that.
8,000
Yeah,
backers,
sure.
then everything for all of the stretch goals, everything has been paid for and will be produced on some level at
Do
some point. So, yeah.
do you think Graf thinks that Thunder Machine needs to be a HasLab with tons of accessories, and do you believe the tiers were pretty weak?
I don't know. I don't think that they were weak. I for a snowcat, I just think the price point was too high. But
Okay,
for snowcat, what else are you going to do? You have to do uh, characters that we've already gotten in the main line or are getting retro versions of or whatever. But you
right,
have to do alternate versions you don't need to have.
right,
Right? You can't lock main characters behind paywalls, and people want figures. People don't want patches. And the Bivouac is an amazing set. So yes, you're getting people excited because they're like, "Oh, I want this one. I want this one." But what they really want is the green one.
right.
And so they're doing an alternate version of the Bivouac. So it's like, "Hey, this is an extra," but you know that that's going to come out later, probably even before the HasLab comes out. They're going to produce a bunch of the green ones and put them to market so that we get them before the HasLab even gets in hands.
So here's the whole thing about that. Like me being such a like not keeping, not thinking about it from that point of view is like my mind doesn't even work that way. But I know everybody's like, yeah, this is what's going to happen. This is how it's going to go down. And in my mind, I'm just like, oh, cool. They got get a bivouac, and it's like that'll be cool when it comes, It's like, but in my mind, I'm not even thinking about that, right?
Yeah.
I just don't. But I know everybody else does because obviously everybody talks and watching streams, all that kind of stuff. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is very unique. It comes, But I'm super basic bitch when it comes to toy collecting, right? So like that's how my mind works on this. It's I don't know. I don't
So
know why.
and so I'm
What's up,
comparing in
Viper
my
Scout?
I'm comparing in my mind 325 for the snowcat with three figures and a bivouac
Okay.
and a bunch of accessories, fire pit and sausages and all that stuff. Or 375 for a shit ton of figures of all
Yeah.
scales with so many accessories you could make an entire tavern scene and an outdoor camping scene at the same time with these characters from foxes that are really small to werewolves that are really big and with customizable parts out the wazoo. And I'm thinking, wow, that Mythic Legions pack is so worth
Okay.
it.
Yeah. No, I get it. I do. That's why I said it's just funny to me because when I hear this, when I hear these conversations get brought up, then I'm like, oh well, yeah, okay, But on the front end, in my mind, it just doesn't work that way with it. I'm probably with toys, especially GI Joe Classified. I'm probably the epitome of what we joke about when it's like, consume product, get excited for new product, next product. That's me with GI Joe
Hey,
Classified. Like I don't critically think about it that way. But then when it comes to movies and TV and
yeah,
like, video games and stuff like that, I'm critically looking at this stuff
right.
through a different lens.
Yep.
And so that's why I need people to kind of break that shit
Hey,
down
but
for me. Yeah.
if I had an extra $800 to $1,000, you know that I would throw it in both of those.
Oh
I would
yeah,
just, I would
no,
just
I
say,
know.
I need both of
Yep,
them.
right. No, I get it. Carlos, why did they separate Flint and Lady J in tiers 1 and 3? That, yeah, I don't
Easy,
know. I mean,
easy, Carlos. You know why? Because
see,
they want more people to get it in there so they can get their Flint figure because everybody loves Flint, and the female figures don't sell as well. McFarlane was partially right on that. They don't, but people want female figures, and now you can use that buck for so many other
right,
things. You can
right,
make your Scarlets, you can make your Cover Girls, you can make all your other Arctic females from that body. So that one's got to be first to throw it out there to wet your palate because Flint's coming. But the bivouac people are super excited about it. So you got to fund that one. And then, well, you got to get Flint because otherwise, what's the honeymoon vacation pack going to look like?
well, they need a bivouac to get their groove on.
That's
You
what
know
I'm
what I
saying.
mean? Like, come on, baby.
It's the honeymoon getaway pack, right? You've got your chauffeur in Frostbite. You've got your vehicle that's going to transport you to this Arctic paradise where you can set up your tent and go have your little camping trip.
And then like me and Three Star used to do back in the day where we had a lamp with a blue light bulb and that was the moonlight, and then like
Ooh.
Scarlet and Snake Eyes or Duke would step around to the back and they'd disappear for a while.
Three star.
Everybody needs a blue light.
I don't I don't know what you're looking in Marvel Legends for, or sorry, Mythic Legions for. But if you're not looking for a giant badass werewolf or a little gnome guy
You're a
or
werewolf
a
fanatic.
freaking tavern set, the tavern. I mean, the male and female warrior that are coming with it, I could care less about. But the fox, the gnome, the werewolf, the
Right.
accessory set,
Hey,
there's so much there that's like, oh, that's super cool.
no, Nolan loves them. Nolan loves them. 3 Star not as impressed.
Yeah,
Which is surprising to me a little bit, but
yeah, it is to me too. Yeah.
um, but yeah, no,
And that
it,
polar bear, man, you got to get that polar bear because
right,
it's a version of iceberg, right? Oh, I know he was a whale or whatever, but you can make him a polar bear, or you can put the Cobra jersey on him and make him a one of the
right,
mutated Cobra soldiers from that episode with iceberg turning into the killer whale.
yeah. Let's see here. Viper Scott says I'm mostly out of classified, but debating on getting the snow counter mask. I could get both, but it would delay gratification of mask. Yeah, the mask stuff for sure looks
I know
great.
a lot of people
I
love it.
can't do it.
It's
Personally, I
it's
can't do it.
again, it's the wrong scale. I mean, they went back to the original scale. So if you want to pair it with your old stuff, okay, don't you have most of the old stuff? So why would you make
Right,
new versions of the I don't know. I don't
right.
understand the whole mask one that's coming out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I loved Mask as a kid, but by far it wasn't like up there with my greatest toy lines. Like it just,
Right.
I had them and I had a lot of them, really did. But, the scale, you couldn't mix and match the scale. You couldn't do anything with the scale, even back in the day, right? Like, so for me, it was always kind of like it's over here. I'll play with them,
Right.
but it only had its day, right, for like a year and a half, 2 years probably, in the middle of everything else that was going on back then.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, had the polar bear fight the dragon on New Year's Eve 2026. 3 Star says, yeah, Jetman says I like the Mythic Legions wave, but I'm into way too many lines right now. But I love that dwarf figure.
Well,
Uh,
that's a gnome figure. The dwarf figures are slightly larger than that.
and Graf has a question. Actually, it says, Mamu, do you know if the
Xerxes.
Xerxes? Okay, I was trying. I know Xerxes, but I just want to make sure I know
Yeah.
studio figures are any good. There's a combatants fight for glory gold. Hilder barbarian chick that seems pretty sweet up on BBTS at the moment. I'm tempted. You know about this?
I do know about it. I have not had any of their product in hand. I've heard good things about it. If you
Okay.
want a good barbarian chick, go to 5K Toys. They've got one for about $50 that's coming out that looks phenomenal. And I would trust those makers that are over there working with that one. I haven't held any of the Xerxes stuff in hand, so
Yeah.
I don't know. But that barbarian chick that's over on 5K, I'd go check it out over there. You could probably get it for cheaper and ship cheaper than you could from BBTS if that's the same Barbarian figure.
Um, let's see. And quickly, I had some starred comments. I don't know if Mr. Magus is back. I know he had to step out for a second, but he said what they need is a Hardware Wars sequel. I agree
Yeah, I started
100%.
that one
Hardware
earlier.
Wars, absolutely.
Yeah.
Stanley says, where could they start and end if season two? I'm guessing talking about either Ironheart
I
and
know
or Obi Wan.
Obi-Wan.
If it's
I
Obi
think
Wan, I
Obi-Wan.
really don't know what you could do with that. Why,
So
where would you go?
honestly, if they wanted to salvage it and do anything good with it, they would do what they did in the Kenobi novel and have him have interactions with the Sand People and figure out who the Tusken Raiders really are.
Great
Uh,
novel. I bought it. I bought it. Read it.
it's
Love it.
it's
Great. I thought it was
yeah, it's
fantastic.
okay. It's okay.
Well, you're okay.
It's something that still fits in the world, and Obi-Wan
Yeah.
fits in that, and it doesn't violate anything in the canon there. And then you
Right.
could possibly end it with what happened in Rebels, where Darth Maul finds him on Tatooine, and you have the last confrontation of Darth Maul and Obi-Wan.
I think that's
Uh,
probably what we would get if we would get that recreation from that Rebel scene.
I would love
Um,
to see it be, but I want to see it done almost exactly as it was done in Rebels, because that's the way a lightsaber duel would be done.
oh,
It's the only
yeah.
realistic lightsaber duel I've ever seen in Star
If they
Wars.
stretched it out for if they stretched it out for like 10 minutes, I don't want to see all that. I like what they did.
Mm-hmm.
It was over really before it began. And a great lesson for
Yeah,
Maul,
yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah, well,
And then Clint says Gunsmoke did 365 episodes, 365 episodes a year for 20 years. They only gave him a day off. There's no way in the
they're
world.
they're exaggerating, exaggerating.
Yeah, I was like, holy crap, like that's amazing. But anyway, okay. So we'll get through a couple more, and then we're gonna jump into The Last of Us because there's a little bit of news. Then we're gonna jump into Superman because we're gonna look at some early reviews, and I know there's people that are going to see it
I
tonight. I would love to bring up their streams.
Yeah, real
So
quick,
what
I'll
you
throw
got?
that up there.
I was gonna bring that up, but
Yeah,
go right ahead.
yeah. The same thing that happened to 95% of the things that they've announced from Star Wars and Marvel. They threw it out there, they put it on the timeline, they said it was happening, they got people excited about it, and then it vanishes because there's no money, because none of the projects that they've ever made in the past 10 years have made any money, and so they have no money, and so they had to scrap projects, and that was the one they thought that people would forget about. All the ones they thought people would forget about, they got rid of. Rangers of the Old Republic is one with the Gina Carano was supposed to helm, and once they
Right.
got rid of her, they canned that one. They canned Kathleen Kennedy is responsible for firing more directors and creators and writers than hiring any, than creating any product. So she is still the worst studio head that has ever existed in all of Hollywood.
So, and that's the thing, right? Like they opted to give us Secret Wars. They opted to give us other shows like Hawkeye or Echo or whatever you want to name, Ironheart,
Yeah.
instead of making a show about a character people knew,
Right.
right? I mean, even the Hawkeye show, he was a passenger in his own show. So, for
Speaking
me,
of which, we've got a story on him, don't we?
uh, well, yeah, I do. I had to dig it up, but I can probably dig
Okay,
it up
no, that's
quickly.
okay. That's okay.
Yeah, no biggie. I mean, if you're talking about him, if you're talking about from several days ago,
Well, and I
uh,
haven't found any corroboration of that one too, so I have no idea if that's
yeah,
even true.
I couldn't either. It was about him signing a $75 million contract
With
with
Warner Brothers.
DC with
Yeah.
Warner. I could not corroborate that, so I really didn't want to bring it. I mean,
Yeah,
look,
that's
I'll bring
fine.
up the rumors about the Indiana Jones. I think that's a little
Yeah.
fun. Jeremy Renner and DC. That's a story to me that doesn't garner much, right? I mean, it just
Yeah.
doesn't.
Okay.
What would he do? Who cares? I
But
mean,
it's just funny because he went on the little rant about saying, yeah, they offered me half as much for the same work as last season, and I
right,
said no to Hawkeye season 2.
right. Well, yes, he did. He said, "No, I'm good." and yeah, G.I. Jetman liked it. You know, Viper Scout liked Hawkeye.
Hey, for
But
the most part, Hawkeye
Jeremy
was fine.
Renner did not like Hawkeye that much. Well, no, and I thought Haley
Yeah,
Kate, who played Kate.
yeah.
I get her mixed up with Haley with oh, what's her name? Cap's love interest. I get
Haley
her
Atwell,
Haley Atwell and Haley
Steinfeld.
Steinfeld. I
Yeah,
sometimes get them confused name wise, but
yeah.
it's like Bruce Springsteen and Rick Springfield. But anyway, so yes, so yeah, I think she's fine. They just could have picked somebody who maybe could run, who can actually run. You know, in the show when she's running, it's one of the
You need
most
to hire Tom
awkward
Cruise. Is that what you're saying? Tom
things. I
Cruise needs
think
to be her
yes,
stunt double.
extremely awkward. But also on G.I. Jetman's comment about Rhodey too, we have to
Yeah,
remember that all the time that Rhodey
he
talked
was a
about
scroll.
Captain America and what it's like to be a black man in America and carrying the shield
Yeah,
and all these things that he went through, he was a scroll, right?
he
It
was a
wasn't
scroll.
actually him. He was a scroll. If we're to go by what they've shown us, so that's where the writers have no clue what they're doing. And that's why
Maybe,
I don't trust them.
maybe they could do an Armor Wars series and bring back Terrence Howard.
Wow. Talk about a guy who just got, he asked for too much money, man. It's his own fault.
Well, so I
It's
mean,
his own fault.
he saw where it was headed and where it could go, and thought he'd shoot for the moon and
Yeah,
walk
well,
away. I think he wanted to walk away more than anything. But
maybe.
if they were going to give him the money, he would have stuck with it.
He got that
Um,
Empire money.
well, yeah, but I mean, he's such a good actor. But
He is good.
if he's going to be hard to deal with, and they're going to get somebody
Right.
else.
Okay, so let's move through these. I got two more stories, and we're gonna get to Superman, and then we'll finish up watching the Wonder Man trailer. Um, Booyah! Neil Druckmann is stepping away from the Last of Us series after season 2, which has gone on to be an absolute disaster. Um, let's see here. Oh God, I can't even. I
I'm
can't
not.
even.
I can't. No,
As
we're
soon
not
as
going to
I
go
see the
there.
name Sydney Sweeney, you
We're
got
not
my
going to go there.
attention, but I can't. I've got to look that one up, my friend. So this is the guy who helped create the Last of Us video game. He eventually
Okay, so hold on.
well,
He's not
okay,
the original writer for the first video game. He
I
had a
agree.
part in it, but he
Yes,
didn't write the first one.
I agree. I agree. What I was going to say is that for the second game, he basically got
Yes.
rid of the creatives that
Yes.
helped write and make the first game such a success so that he
Yes.
could fulfill his vision
Yep.
for the second game. Now, it did sell well. The gameplay was much better, but most people did not care for the story, and they adapted that story note for note pretty much into season 2 of The Last of Us. And as soon as Joel was killed off, the ratings went into the toilet.
Just like what happened with the video game. Go figure.
That's right.
As soon as people got to that point of the video game and word got out what happened in the video game, people were burning copies. They were
So you have
crashing
to
copies. They
imagine,
were
yeah, you have to imagine that the people who played the video game that knew this was coming
They tried to tell everybody.
and then the people who didn't play the games that didn't know, and then they saw Joel get offed,
They were
then
shocked.
and they're like, guess what? I ain't coming back.
Yep.
Forget it.
Just
And
like the video game.
just like the video game. So it seems like either the studio and the showrunner is maybe stepping up here to tell Neil, hey, look, I know this is your vision, but we have a TV show and we have to right this ship somehow. The third season is going to focus on the character of Abby, the person who killed Joel. And it's been proven that Bella Ramsey cannot carry a show on her own. The actress who plays Abby is miscast in that role. So I think they're scrambling. And I think Neil Druckmann, he's saying, oh, I want to go focus on video games again. Right? He wants to go back to gaming. So he
Yeah.
turns tail when the same thing that happened with the video game happens in the show, and then he walks away from the show.
When he gets the same backlash that he got from the
Yes.
video game,
Yes.
which he was trying to ignore or play off or whatever, he gets the same backlash tenfold from the TV show.
I mean, it's so funny because it's like, okay, if there's one more season, then you could see it through, right?
Yep.
Just see it through. And but no, he's bailing out. Basically had a statement saying co-creating the show has been a career highlight. It's been an honor to work alongside Craig Mazin to executive produce, direct, and write on the last 2 seasons. Deeply thankful for the thoughtful approach and dedication that the talented cast and crew took to adapting The Last of Us Part 1 and the continued adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
So season 1, look, it was all right. I'm not going to sit here and act like it was Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad. I'm not going to sit here and act like it was The Walking Dead the first season or 2.
Right.
It was okay.
Right.
They changed some things from the game to make certain characters more prominent and certain agendas more prominent. Now, some would say that particular episode was the best episode of the season, and it may very well be in a looked at within a box.
Yeah.
But it seems that this show, without Pedro Pascal, as much as I hate to say it, because of the character he portrayed, is going to be in the shitter. And season 3 is not even going to rate. It won't even rate, dude.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to watch this.
And that's going to go back to Pedro's ego, and that's going to go to more people wanting to hire him for everything. But
Yes.
yeah. I mean, Pedro is the best actor in that show, and he's the biggest draw of that show.
Right. And so it only makes sense that you know, you lose your main star. Bella Ramsey cannot carry this show. I don't think her acting is that great, and she's just not. I mean, folks, Graf said it. All right, I'm sorry. It's just not like, it's tough to look at. It's just tough to look at. Shane, Same Time Toys, is in the house. What's up, Shane? Yeah, Jetman says, I sent you guys something on IG about Wonder Man. I got that, and I have the trailer, so we'll take a look at that. And then really quickly, let's just bust down the every show in Phase 5 of the MCU ranked. Now, this is on Collider, and they put Secret Invasion at number 8 in 2023. Secret Invasion, there is so many things wrong with it, because whether it's obvious,
it finishes the entire integrity of Sam Jackson. I mean, I understand
it ruins his character.
It ruins his character forever, and you can never think of Nick Fury as ever being a badass. Between Captain Marvel and this show, Nick Fury is the biggest loser in the MCU. I mean, he's the absentee father figure of the MCU, right? He wasn't even responsible. He didn't do anything. He was non-culpable with anything that happened, according to this show.
It's and then for him to fall in love with the alien that was disguised as his wife this whole time. Like, what are we even doing here, man? Like, I'm sorry. This shit. Oh God. Okay, number 7. What If? Seasons 2 and 3. Look, I liked What If season 1. It was fun. Season 2.
Season 1 had some interesting things.
Right.
And as What Ifs, it was a perfect example of the what ifs. And I was like, okay, that's cool.
Right.
Season 2 and 3, not so much.
And I wasn't happy they revisited, you know, some of the characters. I wish everything had been, you know, completely different. You know, just episode to episode, just totally different.
Self-contained.
And instead self-contained. And they kind of went back and revisited. And, you know, some of them were very on the nose. I want to say it was the maybe Black Panther and oh my God, Star-Lord, the swapping places, kind of that one was kind of, you know,
they weren't good.
Look, I Am Groot. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know what if you want to rank this number 6, go right ahead. It doesn't matter to me. If if you thought this was cute,
What's up, Legend series?
oh man, Legend series in the house. And yes, I agree, Shane. Yeah, the what ifs, they should not be connected. I agree. I mean, they need to be
Yeah,
self-contained, and that's
what
the
if
whole
stories?
idea of it, right?
Right. What if stories were always one-offs? Just tell a brief little story in an
Yes.
alternate reality. That's
Right.
what they were there for, to pique people's interest. Hey, what if this happened? It's like my favorite what if story is Red Sun Superman, probably.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, I dig that. Yep, I
What
get
if
it.
Superman fell into Soviet
Soviet Union.
Russia instead
Uh-huh.
of Kansas, America? What would the
Right.
world be like? And you see what the world would be like, and he's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. No, no, no. That totally. And then it would, instead of truth, justice, and the American way, it would be lying, uh, gulag, and waiting in a bread line. That makes sense. Samuel Jackson's character in Deep Blue Sea was treated better than his Nick Fury. Yeah, I agree. Ironheart ranks in at number 5 on Collider's list. I'm sorry. I am just sorry. I am just sorry. Wowie. Um, mm, Bite my tongue. Echo number 4. Again, boy, what they did to the Kingpin. What they did to the Kingpin. Daredevil Born Again, number 3 out of Phase 5. Wow. Okay. Well, we're really getting on it here. Agatha All Along at number 2. I know your audio's gone probably. I don't know if you died, Matthew. Agatha All Along at number 2. Shocked. Absolutely shocked. Um, and then Loki season 2 is at number 1. Here we go. Here he goes. He's coming back. He's coming back.
Did I freeze or what happened?
No, you didn't freeze. Your audio just dipped, man. It's gone.
Okay, because I couldn't
And
hear. I couldn't hear anything.
yeah, no, I don't know what happened. I didn't mute you or anything, but your audio just kind of dipped and disappeared. And then let's see here. I'm trying to figure out which one of you to remove here.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
All right. So anyway, just quickly, they have Ironheart number 5, Echo number 4, Born Again number 3, Agatha All Along number 2, and Loki season 2 number 1.
Wait. Hold
Wow.
on. Where was the Daredevil season in this?
Number 3. Number
Number
3.
3.
All of Phase 5. Number
Daredevil Born
3.
Again. Daredevil Born Again was number 3. Out of all of these series as they're ranked, Daredevil Born Again should have been number 1.
Yeah, I was gonna say compared to Echo, I mean Agatha All Along. Seriously,
Yeah, no, I don't know how you can compare it to
and
Agatha.
Loki season 2 was a huge disappointment, and rushed, really, to me, rushed through
Yeah,
the plot.
I mean, the
And
first season was so infuriating. The second season didn't make it much better. And
we also
and
had
just talk about character evisceration.
we also had many episodes that didn't even go anywhere. Like the beginning of the episode and then the end of the episode, you'd realize that they really made no progress. Like, if that makes sense within the story. But you're right, character evisceration. I agree with you, Loki. They just what they did, because you said it. This is the same guy who just literally weeks prior in the timeline was taking over New York City.
Yeah.
And now we get Loki who's crying in his feels and
well, he spent an entire
admits
episode
he's bisexual and
he spent an entire episode getting kicked in the groin. So
that's true. He did. He
lost all his testosterone with his testicular ruptures.
Yeah, he did. Yep. Yeah, that was I forgot about that. It's hard to forget about that scene actually. And yeah, you're right. It's just until the end of time he gets knocked in the nuts, right? Over and over. And it is interesting, G.I. Jetman, no movies on the list.
No, they were talking about the TV series. This list was from the TV series.
That was the title every show in Phase 5.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is
So
just the shows, which
yeah.
we didn't get a ton. So I mean, if you're just gonna rank them, I get it. I mean, the list could be whatever you want the list to be.
Yeah,
Should
it doesn't
be.
matter. But to me, again, out of all of those, Daredevil Born Again would be number one on my list
Yeah,
if I was to have to rate them.
I agree. I do. Yeah, I think the problem is that oh no.
Right. Hey, if that's what you really wanted, I'm really good at kicking people. I could have done it at Bucky's and we could have got a great picture of
Oh no.
it.
I just think that if we have to be realistic with ourselves, folks. We have to be realistic with ourselves. Like, there are things about each one of these shows that I liked, and there's a lot of things about each one of those shows that I did not like. But what I'm trying to say is that we still have to be realistic in the greater pantheon of like what they're putting out on Disney Plus. And when you're looking at ratings and when you're looking at, these shows don't chart. Like, no one's watching them.
Right.
And that's probably the biggest takeaway for me. The MCU has fallen on hard times so much so that these shows just don't rate. Like, no one's really truly tuning in except for obviously us and hardcore fans that love these IPs.
Yeah.
But they're just not grabbing the attention of people. And so and there's various reasons why. We all have our own reasons why we love and dislike, and why people are not tuning in. But tried and true fact is, people just aren't paying attention anymore.
No, they aren't. And I love our chat. Our chat's awesome.
I know. Yeah. Let's see. I'm just gonna highlight. Name one thing from Agatha that you liked. I'm calling this bluff. All right.
What's
you know who bluff? I liked? I liked the character from that 70s show. I liked the mom from that 70s show. I thought when they killed her off of that series, it was the worst mistake they could have made, because she was the best part of Agatha all along. She was truly, actually funny and aloof and goofy, and I felt like she was truly the best part of that show.
The best part about that show is it's about a witch's coven when they're all stabbing each other in the back and trying to get each other. So it's like a real women's circle there. I don't know. That's
for sure. That's a damn truth. Holy shit. Yeah, Jet Man. I don't know. I mean, don't make the video because you're worried about anybody watching it. Make the video because you want to make the video.
That's it.
Look, dude, like,
people follow passion. If you are passionate and you connect with an audience on a topic, with a title, with how you name it, how you frame it, how you talk about it, then people will come. People will watch it.
I mean, it really is. It's do it because you want to do it. And if people want to watch it, they will. If they don't, they don't. Look, man, I think almost, if not more videos than I have subs. So, and I have like 166 subs. So just think about that for a second.
Now videos or live streams?
Well, live.
You don't make very many videos.
No, but live streams. But you're right. But yeah, so I do it because I like it. I enjoy this. I enjoy, chatting. I enjoy going live. But yeah, do it because you like it, And yes, Garaf, look, I like watching Aubrey Plaza, but I did not like her in that show at all.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, 3-star, that I tricked you into finishing that show. It happens sometimes. Sorry. So Stanley's trying to find that cold slither price, man. Good luck. Good luck there, baby.
They have not released it as far as I've seen, Stanley.
So let's get into some Superman talk. Let's look at some early reactions. I do have a video to play as well. Of
early reactions of Superman.
Yep. Let's see. Let me get rid of that.
Now, granted, these early reactions are all from the very select media elite that Disney chose to watch this movie.
You are correct. You are absolutely 100% correct. Okay. So
now, Maximum Warp Legion, the first season was really good. After that, I don't know, but yeah, Legion, yeah.
So let's get an idea. Sean Gunn had some comments. Sean Gunn had some comments. And so let's see what Sean Gunn had to say on the red carpet of the premiere. But before we listen to those comments, guess who you're going to hear from again, folks? That's right.
Our famous
gayest project Marvel has ever done.
That's right. So away we go. Here's Sean Gunn.
It is exactly what the movie is about, I think, that like we support our people, you know? We love our immigrants. We love, yes, Superman is an immigrant, and yes, the people that we support in this country are immigrants, and if you don't like that, then you're not American. People who it is.
Oh, okay. I see.
Well, so
that's what we're talking about on the red carpet, right?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, this reporter is the ultimate troll. If you listen to the question that he posed, it was an entrapment question. He's trolling these people. He trolled them with the last one. Yeah. He's trolling them with this one. And he's getting them to say stupid shit on the red carpet.
So here, let's grab another one. All right, let's grab another one here from the red carpet.
Your boss, your brother, talked about Superman being an immigrant, and now MAGA is already upset that he's called Superman an immigrant. I wanted to get your reaction.
So again, look, same longer comment. That's a little more context with the question.
Yeah, but the question is inaccurate and out of context.
Yes.
There's nothing factually accurate about. So it's an entire entrapment question because the whole premise is false in the question.
Yes, and he does this. Yeah. This is his thing, right? It's very pointed. It is a specific question. He'll put it whatever it is in there, and then now look, Sean Gunn is drunk as shit right now, and you can tell.
Now, my reaction to that is that it is exactly what the movie is about, I think, that like we support our people, you know? We love our immigrants. We love, yes, Superman is an immigrant, and yes, the people that we support in this country are immigrants, and if you don't like that, then you're not American. People who say no to immigrants are against the American way. They're against what the American dream is all about.
What did he just say? They're against the American way? But I thought they removed the slogan, truth, justice, and the American way.
What does the reporter say? Do you have that part of it?
From the thing, right?
What does the reporter say? Did you have that part of it right after he said that? What the reporter says?
Hang on, it might be. Let me see, because it might be here. Let me see if I can get it to come up. Come on, there you go.
Truth, justice, and the American way.
Absolutely.
Boom! He said it.
Oh, he said it. Wait a minute. Hang on a minute.
He said it. They're not allowed to say it in the movie, but he said it.
So I'm confused here.
Yeah.
Because we were told specifically, right, that had been changed, that was not part of it.
Right.
And yet here is the brother and then the reporter in conjunction and then talking about the American way, truth, justice, America. So the messaging is so just ridiculous.
Well, and they're conflating because it's a false premise, and they're conflating two different things: legal and illegal.
Right.
There is legal immigration and there is illegal immigration, and illegal immigration is always a drain on the economy because they are literally stealing taxpayer dollars, right? And so if you find a pathway for citizenship, that's one thing. If we need these people in here for these jobs, then you find a pathway to citizenship if they want to become a member of our society. if they are coming here to subvert and undermine our society by stealing our tax dollars and stealing other things and creating other criminal behaviors on top of that, then we don't want those people, right? Because they are not positive influences on society. So you are conflating two different things. Immigrants who come here to be a part of our society and to contribute to the American way, those are people who we appreciate. They come here for business and commerce and all kinds of reasons.
Assimilate to culture, and
they bring their culture also,
yeah.
Right? And we appreciate that because there are people from all over the globe that come here because they know this is the way that they can make money. This is the way that they can provide for their families because they can't do that on $2 a day in East India. Right? They come here to actually make money and be successful. And if you do it legally, awesome. If you do it illegally, well, there's a problem because you're not contributing to society at that point.
Well, and I will say this, I do think that you are right as far as conflating, two different things, right? Because that is true. It's a bit misleading to kind of ask that question because you really are talking about different things.
Right.
And so I just thought it was interesting, that comment, especially at the end. And when the reporter himself says truth, justice, the American way. And then you have Sean Gunn who's sitting there like agreeing with him. I just thought it was fabulous. And I will say this, let's see, Todd C. Let's take a look real quick. Wait a minute.
Oh, whoa.
Somebody's trying to steal my style, man. What's going on here? What's really
up,
going on here? Kind of funny, actually. The hat, a little different, but I give you points for that, Todd C. 100%. Best way to leave him stuck is to say he's not an immigrant. He's a fictional character that's not real. See, that's also,
But it doesn't matter because everybody's going to make that analogy.
Yeah, no. I agree.
He's an anchor baby, an illegal immigrant.
But especially now.
Yeah.
This is such a hot button issue and topic, right? So, but Garaf says, look, Soups didn't choose to enter the country illegally, and good luck getting ICE to take him back to Krypton. I agree.
Right.
They took our jobs. They took our jobs. And Mr. Magus says, if he's for the American way, what city or cities in America do he represent?
He's from Kansas.
He's from Kansas. I maybe those values, those
middle America.
Middle America. John Cougar Mellencamp values, right?
Yeah. Mr. Magus has a question there too.
Right here.
Yeah. And so there are two different geographic ideologies of what it is. If you want to relate it to where we are in America, Metropolis is New York City, and Gotham is New Jersey, right? Or Gotham is New York City. Metropolis is New York City, and Gotham is Chicago. Right. So those are the two geographic ideas. But in general, I think they're closer to the New Jersey, New York geographically.
Okay.
Because of the way that they interact with one another. But sometimes it feels like he's in Chicago, so it's a little further away. So it depends on the story and the writers. But essentially, if you're thinking geographically, those are the two parallels you can draw based on the story.
Yeah, I can see that. Punk, what's going on, buddy? As Matthew already said. Jetman says Metropolis is Manhattan and Gotham's Brooklyn. Look, you guys definitely know more than I do when it comes to that.
So I have to disagree with that one in particular because those are way too close. But you got to go across the bay to New Jersey. Right. And in BVS, it's essentially New York and New Jersey. Right. Because you got to think about the difference in mentality of people in Jersey. Okay. You could maybe go as far as Boston. Right. Boston and New York. Right.
Either way, we'd say they're some of your larger,
metropolitan areas. Yeah.
Yes. Right. So take your pick, I guess, in that. To me, and I guess in my mind, I never really even tried to conflate it like that. Like, just to me, I just took them as just a, fictional city, but that, it's just one of them in a way. Like Metropolis seems to have maybe a little bit more of a futuristic feel, where Gotham seems to be decayed and further back. Does that make sense?
I
Like,
wouldn't say
that's what.
decayed. I would say
Well,
I wouldn't say
yeah, I don't
decayed.
know.
I would say it's Gotham.
Does
So
Metropolis have like Crime
it's
Alley and shit like that?
it's gothic, so it has a gothic motif,
I mean,
right?
yeah, I get that. I guess my decayed comment comes from just most portrayals showing like that there's a lot of rundown parts of Gotham,
Yeah.
like a Detroit in the '80s.
There you go.
Okay,
Sure.
does that make
Sure.
sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see. Viper Scout says Shane says Gotham is Chicago. Viper Scout says Metropolis is New York by day. Gotham is New York at night. Spiritually,
Yeah.
I like that kind of.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
cool.
that's good too. Yeah.
Gotham is now Philly being in controlling the unions and trash walls stacking up across the city. Yeah, it's interesting. And let's see. I knew that for years, but they are not New York or Jersey. They're Metropolis. See, that's just the way
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
viewed it. But I guess
Yeah.
if we were trying to find a real world, comparison, right?
Yeah.
It makes sense. So look, a leaked review got out. On the Daily Beast of Superman. This is from this article's from July 4th. This actually got posted on July 3rd for about 7 minutes, 20
Was
minutes,
it that
7 or
much?
20 minutes, something like that.
Somewhere in there.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe somewhere in there, 7 to 20 minutes. That's all it took. So basically, the review begins by saying the reboot resembles a Saturday morning cartoon that's overstuffed, promotes plenty of action, but adds that the film is so awash in over-the-top CGI insanity that its slam bang mayhem loses its punch. Says the cast also doesn't receive much praise. The review points out that Corn Sweat looks the part compared to Reeve and Cavill. He comes across as relatively slight, a situation exacerbated by the all over the place nature of his saga, which I think is a bit of a fear for a lot of people, especially from the marketing, is it seems like this movie's a little bit all over and not very linear. And it also says that the movie reportedly asks audiences to hold on for dear life as it whiplashes about from one out of this world locale and incident to another. Fans will be adrift due to the movie's endless geekiness, with James Gunn's script feigning interest in actual emotion. And then I think lastly, it says that Superman gets tangled up in fanciful nonsense that soon renders the entire affair superficial and silly because of the haphazard plot.
So
Too many heroes, too many people, heroes and villains, way too many people to develop characters. And it says so everything is very two-dimensional.
Yeah. This has always been my biggest fear with James Gunn, because this is what he always does. If you watch his movies, he does not know how to let an emotional beat set. So in every movie that he has an emotional beat, he doesn't let it resonate. He has to break it with some comedic event. He has to destroy the emotional beat by breaking it with comedy and then moving on to the next thing. Oh yeah, don't get too emotional about this. We have to move on with the movie. Right. And he does that so often that nothing sets really well. The only time that I thought did that even somewhat well was with the death of Quill's mom.
Okay.
That was kind of the last one where he let a moment sit for a minute.
Right.
After that, he just cuts in between them so fast and so furious that I was afraid of that. And I already knew there were too many people involved with this movie. So it's got to be all over the place, because you can't have that many characters and tell a decent story. Doomsday that's coming up. I mean, come on.
I mean, dude, in the first, you're rebooting the DCU, and you've got if not Batman, your titular character in Superman.
Yeah.
And you are bringing in a whole cast of various, I mean, let's face it, folks, like B, C list heroes, a lot of whom maybe people really won't know who the hell they are. And then you don't have time to explore or develop those characters, man. That's a disaster point right there for a movie, that you're trying to introduce your new actor portraying this main character.
Yeah.
And now you're also introducing a lot of other characters that just, like it says, are two-dimensional. Now, again, this is just one review. we're gonna look at a few others here.
Well, they're first reactions.
Yeah, first reactions. But yeah, and Graph, hey, look, wait a couple weeks. I totally get it. Will it be on Max that quickly? I think they're going to try to leave this in theaters as long as they can.
Oh,
as long as they can, right?
It will be in theaters for at least 4 weeks, unless it totally bombs, which I don't imagine that's going to totally bomb. It's going to make enough money to last 4 to 6 weeks in the theaters.
Shane's going Thursday, and he's going to live stream it, kind of get that before and after out of the theater experience, which I do like those a lot. I really do appreciate those. And then let's see. Okay, cool. All right, so let's see here. All right, so let me pull up some of these first reactions, and I'm just gonna pull up kind of a.
There's a couple of them that I read that are like, "Oh, you're fired. You're never coming back to one." But most of them are all the same. They actually use the same language.
So just to give you guys an example here, here is let's see, share this tab right here from a verified checkmark on Twitter. Superman is a triumph for the DC universe. Comic book brought to beautiful live action life, brimming with hope and fulfillment. It actually elicited tears of joy from me. Okay, all right. Wonderful. Dan Casey, not verified, says Superman was maybe my most anticipated movie of the year, and it really blew me away. Cast and crew really got to the heart of what makes a good Superman story. It's hopeful even when things seem hopeless. Superman is a soaring triumph. Waste no time diving into action in a meta-human world. Corn Sweat Superman is punk rock, and Nicholas's Lex is his electric opposite.
Hey, okay, so that was a direct AI quote from James Gunn.
So that's what I thought. I'd read that before, but I'm like, okay, maybe. I know a lot of these people use the same quotes. They'll say, "Oh, return to form" or "triumph."
The punk rock one specifically, that was James Gunn. He said that.
Okay, and so it says here that. Engineer and Ultraman Shine, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, and Guy Gardner steal scenes. Okay, so they steal scenes.
Corn Sweat steals scenes in his own movie. The movie is supposed to be about him.
That's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, okay. Then we have another one here. Wow, Corn Sweat is Superman. He honors Christopher Reeve's legacy with excellence. Leaves the cinema invigorated by the energy of hope that the film emanates. Thank you, James Gunn! ! I love the platitudes. I love the platitudes.
Look at that.
Yeah. Me laughing at all these Superman reviews are the same as the Flash reviews.
I mean, they're almost word for word, aren't they?
Yes. Okay. Grace Randolph, everybody's favorite. This is the best Superman movie to date. When James Gunn gets out of the way and lets his work speak for itself, it's incredible. It's not perfect, but darn close. What does that even mean? What does that even mean?
Is she attacking the media campaign that James Gunn has inserted himself in everywhere? So when James Gunn gets out of his own way, if he just shuts up and makes a darn movie to entertain, he's okay.
Honestly, what does that even mean when James Gunn gets out of his own? But the whole marketing, exactly. The marketing campaign is, this is a James Gunn movie. It's got the James Gunn humor. It's got the James Gunn comic book love. It's got.
It's James Gunn's James Gunn.
Talking about, what is? Oh God, that woman. But that's nonsensical.
Yeah,
it's literally nonsensical. Let's see what else we got. Rolling Stone review, Superman movie that actually feels like a living, breathing comic book. Yeah, I mean, look. The DCU brief, of course, this is going to be very positive. And look, great. Positive reviews. It's funny, heartfelt, better than Man of Steel. 11 out of 10. Best movie of 2025. Okay.
You haven't seen any movies in 2025.
Evidently. These are glowing reviews, right? These are glowing reviews. Just finished my
Well, first reactions. First reactions.
this was the first time I didn't even look at the word count. I was just going in. I love this damn movie. People are comparing.
Remember,
Wait, what? Whoa, here, look. Reviews are comparing it to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Interesting.
no, they're not. And these aren't reviews. These are first reactions.
IGN hated
When
it.
is the review embargo lifted, Pop? Do you know when the review embargo is lifted?
Well, it was lifted at like 3 o'clock today, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's because they're doing the fan screenings tonight.
Oh, here's Snarky J. I know.
Yeah.
I know what's his name. Hello, War Chest. I know he's a Snarky J fan. I wonder why.
So yeah, right. So let's frame it this way. When they put a review embargo up, they mean to hold off negative reviews for as long as possible.
Yes.
They're doing fan screenings tonight. They know that the fans who watch this movie are going to be putting out reviews tonight and tomorrow morning. So they wanted to get some of the critical positive reviews potentially out before that. So they had their fans watch it and held their reviews until this afternoon. So they could post them this afternoon before people got to go to the movie and actually see it, like actual people.
Right.
Yeah.
And quickly, first reaction to Force Awakens was I loved it. Some wounds don't heal. I get that. Mr. Magnus,
Yeah.
you couldn't be more right with your comment. I think that I spoke of this earlier. People don't talk to each other the way that the dialogue is written in this show.
Yeah.
And yet, the showrunners trying to kind of show like this urban street crime crew of you've got your trans and non-binary, you've got your straight, and you're like, just every different type of character you could possibly come up with in this one little group of people. But it really is very over the top, heavy-handed in trying to portray this group as some kind of rough and ready urban gang and it's not only is it unbelievable, but the dialogue was so embarrassing.
I mean,
so embarrassing.
She could have joined a corporation to make money off of it and profit and
Right.
build her devices, but no, she went and
No,
joined
let's
a
just
gang
steal
to
everything. What are you talking about?
steal
And kill
everything.
people and maim people and
Literally
but she's good though.
She murdered people,
She wanted to make something iconic and undeniable.
which is just a reproduction of something that somebody else has already made.
But I'm with you. I'm with you, Mr. Magus, though, on that comment. I agree with you 100%. It just very unbelievable for sure. Early Superman reviews turn heads. Rotten Tomato score is revealed. I think it's sitting at like 91%.
Yeah,
but
who cares about Rotten Tomatoes anymore since it was exposed during the Captain Marvel thing that they're just a joke?
Does anybody really actually? Does anybody really truly pay attention to Rotten Tomato or critic or even reviewer percentages? Like, does anybody really truly look at that and let that shape the way you view going into something, or do you just kind of suss it out for yourself? I'm curious for people if they pay attention to that.
For me, I kind of did pay attention to it for a little while, but then after the Captain Marvel stuff came out and they changed their algorithm and they stopped allowing people to actually speak their minds, they started censoring all their reviews. Then I was like, well, this doesn't mean anything anymore. But Voodoo, Fandango, whatever it is called now, would always put up those critic and audience scores, and they still do, based off of Rotten Tomatoes on everything that you can purchase or watch on that platform. Yeah. The Rotten Tomatoes is put up there. And, also what you have to understand is if it's 70% or above, it's fresh. So even if they have serious criticisms of it, if it's 70% or above on the
Right.
the amalgamated reviews, it's fresh.
It's a passing grade.
It's a passing grade. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to. And
Yeah.
then when I started to see the manipulation
Yeah.
of the scores by the companies, and then I
Yeah.
started to see where they would take down scores because they would say, "Oh, it's being review bombed," but review bombing goes both ways, because if you look on Rotten Tomatoes, like for instance, Ironheart.
Yeah.
If you go on Rotten Tomatoes and you look up the reviews, right, you'll know all the 10 scores. As you scroll through them, you'll see that it's the only review that person has ever made of any show ever on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right.
And you'll notice the profile was just created like that day.
Right.
And then there's no profile pic, so you know they're fake. Like you can
Right.
tell they're extremely fake, because it literally is the only thing that they've ever reviewed, and they all say the same thing. Now, conversely, you can also do that for the ones that rated a 1 or a 2, whatever.
Right.
You can. But out of those 10s, especially I went and looked through Ironheart, a lot of them, it's the only thing that profile has ever reviewed. And
Right.
what they say about the show is nothing about the actual show.
Right.
It's the most bland, generic comment you could make about any show ever made. And putting it at 10 stars, 5 stars, whatever you want to call it, giving it 100%,
Right.
And so the review bombing thing, I don't believe that crap. And I think most people,
If anybody says something was review bombed, look at it with a grain of salt, because it probably didn't happen. Whether it's positive or negative, because you can positively review bomb something, and that has happened as well, where they artificially inflate it, and
right.
they get their bots to do it or whatever. So whenever something is review bombed, you got to know it's 90% not true when that happens.
Right. G.I. Jetman, yes, I did see Mephisto's face in the spoon when he was talking to Riri. Look, I thought Sacha Baron Cohen was the best part of the entire show. And that one tall black guy scares me. Dude, I get it. I totally get it. Like, it's a fucking trip.
Well, I mean, going back to Mephisto. Mephisto is one of the greatest Marvel villains of all time, and he's being wasted in this show that nobody's going to watch, because
that's the saddest part.
He is the devil.
Yeah.
Right? He is Satan personified in the Marvel universe, and how he can manipulate things or use that kind of stuff, and he's wasted in this show to do more Black Girl magic. Yeah. I mean, it's essentially what you're doing. You're combining science and technology, and you're already doing what Dr. Doom has done before Dr. Doom does it, because you want to undercut Dr. Doom before he even comes on the screen.
You hit it right on the head, because now within the lore, Dr. Doom isn't the first character to fuse magic with tech. It was Riri with the help of her Zelma, not Thelma. Velma, not Velma, but Zelma friend. And so now she gets to take the credit and the claim for being the first to, power the. You can see those wheels turning, right?
She needed the devil to do it. And she needed a race swapped Hood, because the Hood couldn't be the white guy. The Hood had to be a minority, because that's not racist.
Yeah, no.
Anyway.
It's just such a mess. It just really was. Look, if Superman kills someone, I'll walk out, says Shane. And Graf says I watched Snarky J as well. And I watched your videos before. The one funny thing about go ahead, what's that?
Is Snarky J Longbone, or is J
No.
Longbone? Okay,
no.
Okay.
Snarky J exploded on the scene because she always has her cleavage out, and she walks at every video. She starts with kind of her back to this camera, and then she turns around and she walks towards her chair that she sits on, or a stool that she sits on, to do her reviews. It's like every video she literally she turns around, and you see her at the beginning. She walks up, and then she sits on the chair. Great camera, good lighting. Good reviews. She's good. She's good. She's good at what she does. I mean, she is pretty, but she's good at what she does. But every video, she literally does this little turn and then walk towards the camera and then sits down, and that's how she starts her videos. It's kind of funny.
Nice.
It's the snarky walk is what I call it. Let's see. Rachel Brosnahan, smash or pass? Oh, come on. Seriously? Is that even a question? Uh, and Mephisto is Borat. Yeah, Maverick 77 Defender. I can't say that I've seen you here, Maverick, but I like it, baby. And Mephisto is Ollie G. Yeah, that's what's so funny about it. But I think the thing to me is Sacha Baron Cohen and his career and the way that he has navigated his career. To me, is a trip. And he's done some really great things. And again, he is the best part of that show. That's for sure. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know about Christian Bale. I'd have to go back and look at that comment and see. It wouldn't surprise me if, if here he's got the quote right there.
Yeah.
Zach Sharf, December 1927. It wouldn't surprise me, but I think we saw a lot of those comments coming out of Hollywood from 2016 all the way up till now, and we've also seen those comments start to go away. Because we've seen what Hollywood has become.
Yeah. 2016 to 2022, 2023, you saw a lot of that. After that, not as much.
Mr. Magus, you are so right. The scene where they're standing there talking to each other, and she's the AI is like talking to her after they. This is before the security guard gets shot with a bullet by the hood in that scene, and they're standing there talking to each other. Yeah, her AI friend definitely has a fatty. That's for sure. It's like that's the first thing I noticed. I was like, holy moly, that girl's got a big old booty. Oh my gosh, truly. I hope it's not another Ben Kingsley Mandarin. That's for sure. I really hope not. She doesn't spin around in her chair like Dr. Claw 3-star, but she does do this little walk. Right.
Does she have a cat that she pets on the screen?
No, but oh my God, that would be so freaking awesome, dude. I mean, seriously, that's what she needs to do in her video. Actually, is spin around a chair with a cat, pet the cat while she talks in her video. She does cosplay and stuff too. I mean, she goes around, but her YouTube channel blew up. I mean, it did, but let's not kid ourselves. I mean, part of it is the cleavage in every video. She has a good smile. She's cute. But she is good. She speaks very well, and she's pretty clear and concise in her opinions, and that always plays well. Maverick 77 Defender. So James Gunn's Superman is an illegal immigrant. Evidently, that's the talk on the red carpet, right? And they they kind of tried to turn it into a MAGA thing and a political thing, and I think unfortunately, as we've seen with everything, Matthew, on the red carpet in particular, instead of asking about the characters and other things, it always
the writing,
goes
the story,
political, right? Always goes political, and that's too bad. Yeah, I mean it's too bad. Let's see. Oh gosh, I don't know if you want to do that 3-star. I mean, you could try it. And I'm sure some people will watch, but some people may not even get through the first sentence. I know they wouldn't with me. There's no muscles to show here. Unfortunately, just some gray hair, I think. And then I don't know, the Miami Toy Tubers Collectors Crush. I've never heard of those guys, Stanley. I don't know. Disappeared after a couple of years. Yeah, I'm not familiar with those guys. Stanley, I'm not sure.
Things change. YouTube world is crazy. You never know what happens.
And also, you never know. People, they kind of just bail. Right. On their channels. Like they just, people just, if they got life and shit going on, man, all of a sudden they could have a channel that's successful, and then just life happens, right? You know what I mean? And that's that. But as far as Superman, I mean, so far these early reactions, take them with a grain of salt. Go see it for yourself. I do want it to be good. I don't want it to be bad.
I need a good Superman movie. Yeah, I need something that's hopeful. I need something that's inspiring.
A good movie.
And there's always still a chance that despite everything that we've heard, that it's going to be better than we expected it to be. There's always a chance.
It's and I'm all in for that chance, right?
Yep.
Like I absolutely am. I know each week, come on here and kind of rail on some stuff, but it's not. Look, I don't write the scripts, folks. I don't cast the actors.
Yeah.
I don't shoot the films and the shows. Like I'm only taking what I'm seeing and giving my opinion on it. But when these things go bad and then they blame it on us,
Right.
right?
That's the problem. Is
Then
they
it's like,
always
hey,
blame it on
I
us.
didn't write it. I
Yeah.
didn't write the movie. I didn't shoot
Yeah.
it. I didn't race swap or gender swap or give this character a shitty character now. Instead, they were a good character. I didn't make Riri somebody who wants to steal when she's one of the smartest women on the planet.
And I
Instead,
didn't
she'd
name
rather
her
commit
Riri.
crimes. Well, that too. So I mean, it's just one of those things. Like to me, it's like, man, I want it to be good. So I do. I want Superman to be good. I'd like Fantastic Four to make me excited about
Yep.
the MCU again and what's to come. But man, look, Matthew, it was a great time. For several years, we were eating really good, and we got
Yep.
some really good movies and some fun characters and some great stories.
10 years.
And
We had 10
connective
good years.
tissue, right? Connective tissue,
Yeah.
and it's like you can't continue that forever, right? Like you just can't continue that forever, and
Nope.
I just feel like it's going to be extremely, extremely difficult to do that. For Ronnie Trickshot, was it Ronnie Trickshot that asked the question, smash or pass? Ronnie, I'll pose the question to you. You tell me. Rachel Brosnahan. Ball's in your court now, buddy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Same time, yeah, it's always the fans' fault. Yeah, because you're not smart enough to understand what they were laying down, and
Right,
you just
right.
didn't get it.
Yeah.
That's what they'll always say.
It
You
wasn't
just
made
didn't-
for you.
Wasn't made for you. You didn't get it. Well, if it wasn't made for me, then who was it made for?
Well, and
But-
then when you don't go to see it, then they tell you that it was you that didn't go see it, and that's why it failed. But before
That's
they
right.
told you that it
It
wasn't,
wasn't
made,
made
for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So then which one is it, right? Like, it's oh my gosh. Yeah, no, it's look, we'll see, man. I can't wait. I would have liked to have seen it tonight, but obviously we had the stream to get through, and so that is what it is. But I will be seeing it, next week when I can, or in a few days here, I guess. And
Yep.
was that Thursday? So I guess maybe Friday.
Yeah,
I'd like to see.
I hope to
like
see
to-
it Saturday. So
Yeah, I think maybe I'm off Friday, so I'd like to see it on Friday and maybe give a review Sunday. I know that this movie needs to hit about 700 million to make its budget, let alone make a profit. So it
really? I
needs,
thought it was higher than that. I thought it needed to make $1 billion.
it's about 225 million
Okay.
on budget, and then another 100 million on marketing.
So 225.
So 325, you about 700 to
450.
turn a profit. You know what I mean? So somewhere in there.
So
we'll-
yeah,
we'll
so
see.
yeah, 700 million would make a profit for them.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. But yeah, I'll probably go see it Friday and during
If
the
that
day, which is
budget's
when I like to
true,
see movies.
I heard the budget was higher than that though.
You never know. I
Yeah.
mean, that's you have to kind of try to do your own math with that, and you figure, okay, we'll multiply the budget times 2 plus 100 million for marketing, and
if you multiply it by 3, you're good. But
oh, for sure.
but
I would
I generally thought that it was $334 million, but
So War Chest is going to go see it tomorrow night at the
All right.
Alamo. At the Alamo. So
well,
he's going to be there with was it Davy Crockett or Daniel Boone? Who the hell's
Alamo Draft House, baby. Alamo Draft House. Great theater company, or was before they were purchased by
He's going to have a
Sony.
musket in his hand, ready to see Superman.
Well, he better have a Bowie knife in his hand. I'm sorry.
Okay, look, my voice is about had it. I've done all I can do tonight, folks. Hit that like button, definitely. Thank you, Shane, so much. And you guys go see the movie, go see Superman. Let me know what you think, and I'll tell you Sunday what I think. That's for sure. But Matthew, another week in the books. And again, another week closer to the summer blockbusters, which we're finally going to get a couple of them. At least in our wheelhouse, anyway. So I can't wait to discuss Superman with you. I can't wait to discuss Fantastic Four with you. And yeah, man, that's about it. Dude, really appreciate everybody coming in. War Chest, ride the back end. Rise, my voice is killing out on me, man.
War Chest.
Y'all have a fantastic rest of your week. Hope y'all had a great 4th. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday night, another evening blend with some Superman talk and review. Until then, y'all be good. Appreciate it.